Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning to you guys over there west of me. But good morning to everybody out there. Good afternoon. I hope you're all having a great day. DoktorHigh, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm high.
You're high?
Yeah.
I am too.
It's been a good morning.
I took a nice trip out to the res this morning.
Oh,
So
you
I got
got
me.
Kobe. What's up?
Pretty.
How are you, Kobe? Welcome in. Thank you for coming by. Please subscribe, like, and share, and pound that whatever button that you're supposed to.
Pound that like button, eh?
The button
Subscribe.
that they tell you to pound, but I can never find it. I don't know. That one like button out there in the front, please pound that one so that we have more than 4 likes. And then that's the one when you first come in, I guess. And then there's no other. I mean, pound those little hardy things over there and do lots of talking. That's what they tell us. Lots of talking. And out there in the chat world, please chat as much as you can, even if it's
We don't
nonsense.
stop talking.
I know they're great. But we, that's what's supposed to keep the algorithm going. That's what I've heard.
Okay.
I've lowered my camera here a little bit, and I have to learn to adjust. I have to sit a little lower now.
You have to stoop.
Yeah.
What's up, Garrett? Kelly? Good morning, Kobe. Good morning, Facebook user. Not quite sure who you are, but
that's Coy. I think that would be Coy, Facebook user. He does all those pretty signs and speaks in caps because he's old.
Oh, okay.
That's what he told me. He said, I speak in caps because I'm old and I can't see.
Oh, got it. I get that.
I get it.
I get that. I tell you, I go to the grocery store. I got to pass my wife. I got to pass my wife over every item so I can see what the expiration dates are and stuff. I can't even read the ingredients anymore without glasses. And that
is pictures of DoktorHigh's new abode when he gets over there. He's got some photos of this is what the place is. He said it
looks like a bit of a dump right now, but once I got my weed pictures on the wall, it'll be nice.
Yeah, it'll look a lot better. So it's beautiful. I love the grand piano. I think that's gorgeous. That'll be nice for you to practice when you sing like Billy Joel, right? At night, you're over there.
Oh,
serenading Mrs. High,
Mrs.
High. Yeah.
Actually, my wife's a singer. She got a free cookie for singing today.
A free cookie for singing?
Yeah, we stopped. I had to go and do my run around. I wanted to go to the res and do some groceries and stuff. So I went up this morning to do that. And I decided to pick up some Subway to bring home for lunch.
Nice.
So they had a sign on the cash register, sing us a song and we'll give you a cookie. So my wife gave him a little song and got herself a nice chocolate chip cookie out of him.
Nice. Was it edible? I missed that part.
No. It was Subway.
Oh, Subway. Oh, Subway. That's nice. That's cute. They give you a free cookie if you sing there.
Yeah, it was funny. Well, I like that Subway, right? Because it's on the res. So
right. That's cool. Like that's cool shit. They're willing to just give a cookie away if you're willing to come in and sing a little song and brighten up the day. I think that's cool shit. Yeah, I like that.
That's fun.
Shout out to that Subway, wherever it may be.
Yeah, Tyndonega.
Yeah,
Highway 2, Shannonville, Tyndonega. But the cool thing is that because of its location, there's no taxes. And a lot of times when you go to Subways, they're owned by a lot of different kinds of people. But they're always going cheap on their stuff, right? Their employees are just trying to minimize everything. When I walk out of there, my bag is so heavy with a sandwich and a half.
Sandwiches are going to fall through the bag. Curly Cal, wait a second. That could be considered some sort of terroristic act. I've heard you're singing. Don't go into Subway and sing
like that's not nice, Hippie.
No, I've heard her singing. It's the truth. I'm going to save the Subway. I just saved that Subway down the road from her, wherever it may be.
Okay.
Guy. Oh my God.
I don't know if that's a Subway wide promotion or if it's just there, but
yeah, she's just gonna walk in. They're gonna be like, "What the hell? Get out of here, you crazy lady! Get out of here!
Yeah,
you don't belong here."
She sang him a Barney song and then changed the words a little bit.
I love you.
Had them all laughing.
Oh, they know you. I know they know you. You spend half your day there every day at work. You're like Subway queen. They're like, "Oh, hello, Kelly. How are you? Come on in."
Morning, Robert. How are you this morning? Cookies?
Gotta go. You just got here, Kobe. We haven't even started talking about the good stuff yet.
What's the good stuff? Good morning, Chris. How you doing, Robert?
Medicine. Have a great day, Kobe. It was good meeting you.
How's everything?
Please share and subscribe and like that stuff. We're almost to 100. Yep, 100. 100. Yep. No, just 100. Just 100. Not 100,000, 100 million, nothing like that. It's just 100. It's coming, though. It's coming. We're going to get to 100 soon. We're at like 98. That'll come. So, Robert, it's so good to see you, Mr. Robert. I miss you so much, you handsome fella. He's a good guy, that kid. I like him. DoktorHigh. He needs help, though. He's got some crazy problems.
Like what?
He's mentally crazy.
Well, I think we all are.
Oh, yeah, that's
but
true.
What difference does that make? That's what keeps us interesting.
That's true. I like him a lot, though.
Morning, Facebook user. You know, if we were all the same, and if none of us were a little eccentric or bizarre or strange, then
I agree. I love him. Love him. He's my fluffer. He's been my fluffer since the very first day.
Well,
yeah. I got no issue.
I understand what that term means, so that's a little bit bizarre.
I do this. Yeah, he does too. I think he does. Sometimes I wonder if he does, but he likes to be a fluffer. He loves being my fluffer. I needed one. Before the shows, I need somebody to fluff me before I go on the air.
Are you interested? What, in fluffing? Is that what you're saying, Kobe?
Yeah, he's interested in being the fluffer as well. Oof. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Thank you so much for joining.
We're way off track. We're not talking about loose, dense buds here. I think we're on something totally different.
Right. Speaking of fluffing, wait till I get my fluffer in.
Well, I guess in your situation, fluffing could mean something totally different, right?
Right. It does mean something different. I am a
could be like putting more cotton in your head or something.
Right. I am a stuffed. I call myself a stuffed animal. I am a stuffed animal. I'm a real boy, damn it.
That's it.
I have feelings.
Oh, are we outside the guidelines?
Every time I get outside the guidelines, my friend Glitchy, Witchy, Bitchy over there, she'll tell us. She pulls me back to normal land. Douglas, how are you? Good to see you, my man. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We already almost time for our first commercial. We've just been chit-chatting. DoktorHigh has so much information to give everybody today.
Yeah.
No, we hope you have a lot of questions, dude. My plan.
But I got some interesting things that I was reading today. Hey, how are you? One that I think Raggy will like because it got to do with the UK. There's something very interesting happening over there, and Canada's got something in the works that's kind of interesting in the space. And
Mr. Slow, he's got no weed again, Mr. Slow.
Oh.
No medicine,
no fun.
I should say. No medicine.
No
AKA
fun.
The party pooper. You're not a party pooper. You just keep me in check. You keep me in check so I don't get in trouble. I have a tendency to get in trouble. It should be like troubled hippie. Not
troubled hippie.
Not
I don't know.
The troubled
When
hippie.
they start putting you on a timeout, then you'll know that you got a problem.
I get timeouts all the time. I've actually gotten crystal bananas from my friends.
We're not talking about what Mississippi does to you. We're talking about
on TikTok, I get bananas. I get all sorts of crap, man. I'm not allowed to perform anywhere. I'm the most hated puppet out there.
Most hated puppet.
Yeah, that's my thing now. The most hated puppet. That's me.
Funny.
Am I too far off the screen? Do I need to move over a little?
Maybe a little bit.
Okay, there we go.
Maybe a little bit. Time out. That's
right.
Burns got you.
I get bananas. Every day. People have bought me crystal bananas from Bella's Badass Crystals. Just so I got banana PTSD from TikTok. I don't even want to see bananas, man. I've been so bananaed over there. I can't even go over there and hang out anymore.
That's funny.
Headed to the woods. All right, Vern. Behave
What's
yourself.
going on in the woods?
Oh, Vern goes for walks all the time. She's got a path that she walks.
Just for a stroll and to spend
Just
some
for
time out there in the
shits and
nature.
giggles, I think. Yeah, just to
Okay, I was just wondering if she's going like foraging for mushrooms or herbs or plants or something like that.
Oh, she's got her own land there. Yeah, they do all that shit. They got.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That stuff's kind of cool. Like that was one thing I really liked about having the North Shore Spores on was
4 or 5
pretty
big
interesting
greenhouses.
that you can go out into nature and harvest stuff for yourself, stuff that's good for you and healthy for you, and you can get it at no cost other than your time and your effort, right? So I think that's a pretty cool thing. Mental clearing. Oh, got it. So do you smoke a joint before you go for the stroll? What's that? A crystal banana?
Yeah.
What is that, like a bone that you put through your nose?
No, it's
you had a piercing?
No. It's just a crystal banana. It's a bunch of bananas.
Well, you have 4 big dogs you're taking with you. That's a trip. That'll be fun.
DoktorHigh's in charge of the music today, everybody.
Yeah. Well, no, Facebook will probably put the thing on my say I don't have the rights to this, so some of it's muted.
Yeah, they'll cut this. They'll be like, "You guys are playing music you don't have the rights to. Damn it."
Yeah.
That belongs. That belongs to Nokia.
Like a year and a half ago, I bought a TV and a sofa from this furniture store. And they call me like every couple of months trying to, maybe go back and buy something else. But I can't believe they're still calling me a year and a half later. I never pick up their calls ever because I have no interest. If I need something, I'll come see you. Until then, I'm not the guy who's susceptible to the sales pitch. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
All right. You guys write all your questions in now while we're going to go do our commercial break. We'll be right back. You're hanging with the Hippie.
Yeah, we'll leave at least 17 to 24 questions by the time we return.
At least. We'll be right back.
Okay, men. This is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're going to go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you going to do? You're going to go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You got to dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. No, you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. You give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. You go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen.
Oh, I love the meatballs.
Caregiving
double
is
meat.
Find the care guides you need at aarp.org.
And banana peppers on it.
We're back on the subs.
I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6.
That's one of our questions.
Sitting alone
I've
at the playground, she can't play.
What's your usual Subway order?
She have the energy because she's
I don't know, man. I just go with my mood when I get there.
There's a group out there. You ever join it? It's on Facebook. It's called I'm Food and This Is High.
Each year,
well, as long as it's not called Friends of Garrett.
Use billions of pounds.
Oh, this is better because I'm Food and This Is High.
Food is then provided to families and children in need.
And I'm a member of it. And people like put up shit that they make when they're really stoned and they're like, "This is good."
Being a kid because they're hungry.
It's really cool
to find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community.
You know what?
Visit
I got to tell you,
feedingamerica.org.
one of the most shocking parts of my experience when I was in prison in the States
Hey, Mississippi, I don't take a ride to Dauphin, PA today.
Food people were able to make in there.
Bella's badass crystals.
I can tell you some stories of stuff that I used to eat there quite regularly.
That's only on Mondays, Tuesdays,
delicious.
Saturdays, Sundays.
I know people who are now out of there and they still make it.
That sounds like a great
They're
road
like,
trip.
I'm
That's
making this
Bella's
tonight.
Badass
If you're
Crystals
in,
on
you're in.
TikTok
If
and
you're out,
Facebook.
you're
You
out.
can also find them on the top of the mountain in
I'm like,
Dauphin.
We can go into ChatGPT. Absolutely, Garrett. I like that idea.
Badger Heart Puppetry. Badger Heart Puppetry.
Yep.
Badger
can use
Heart
ChatGPT to test
Puppetry.
it.
If you need
I
some
like that. It would
kick-ass
be like,
puppets, contact
like Serial Pursuit
1-636
with OpenAI.
1535.
Absolutely, that's brilliant.
He can fix puppets.
You're now
But,
there's the question person
He
in the
has
crowd.
puppets off the rack for.
There's been times that I've had to
Contact George today at 1-636-234-9535 or on TikTok or Facebook at Badger Heart Puppetry. He also makes LARPing items too.
You're listening live to WTHC Radio on Live 365.
Not all at once, man. We got to time it out throughout the show. My man will be answering them.
I'ma smoke a blunt, put it in the bung, yeah, we gon' cut it up.
But I don't want to type all day. I want to get it done and over with.
We moving cautious, so we cut up the
That's
blood.
good, though, Garrett. I like it.
Getting OG in the tires, holding up, we back in silk, quadruple bag.
17 cannabis questions.
Like we going town to town with the bag, they yelling trick or treat. Gotta eat my family, my brothers, I'm at from the streets. Not nigga, not a gangster, I'm just smart. Had a plan to speak. I'm making all these plays, they gon' make a game that I'ma play. Stoners all unite in a circle, all smoking flame, we entertain. Higher than the clouds, catch me out of space, I'm coming hella real. Most these rappers speaking hella fake. Smoking on
but I like it, Garrett.
as a CGO, hash up in the middle of some Zaro.
I like it.
Oh, the bad thing is Dr. High's going to answer every one of those because he can't let one go by without answering it.
As a CGO, actually in the middle of some
That's not a bad thing. I mean, it's all knowledge. So I'm willing to absorb.
I like challenges.
Put it in the bong, yeah, we gon' cut it up. Turkeys in the trunk, we moving packs. My job is just a front. Fuck the house, we moving cautious, so we could all double up. Purple smelling good and OG in the tires, holding up. Smoke a blunt, put it in the bong, yeah, we gon' cut it up. Turkeys in the trunk, we moving packs. My job is just a front. Fuck the house, we moving cautious, so we could all double up. Purple smelling good and OG in the tires, holding up.
Yeah, why not? I've done that before to try and figure out what to talk about on the show, Garrett. So I get it.
WTHC, happy 420 to everybody out there celebrating. I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to get high again today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You pretty much nailed it because on my clock, it's 420 exactly.
Yeah. I played the song a little bit early, but
no, but you finished right on the beat, man. Right when it was.
Yeah. It's sometimes I do that. I get lucky. I'm glitching out bad over here, though, man. You see it? I'm like moving in slow motion and shit.
So journal update. It's there. It's on my Etsy store now. So you can either get the medical journal, you can get the cultivation journal, or you can get them both as a bundle for a better price. Save like $5-6 if you get them both together.
Very cool.
So, yeah, I mean, why not? It's beneficial because really, although this is perfectly applicable to any cultivator, whether you're cultivating for recreational use, cultivating for medical use, cultivating for commercial purposes, no matter what it is, these are just parameters that should be tracked all the time, no matter what type of grow you're doing, right? The medical journaling side of it, well, that's not necessary for everybody. But when I was doing this, really what I was doing it for is for people who are new to growing or novice growers or beginning growers, because for each phase of the grow, there's information and tips in there, like your humidity should be at these kind of levels, your temperature should be in this range.
That comes in the journal. That comes in the journal.
Yeah, yeah. That's all in there.
Suggested retail price as well. Like your humidity should be between this and this. So if I'm looking, I'm a new grower, I'm going to be able to say, oh shit, my humidity's too low according to DoktorHigh. Let me
exactly
humidity and
it shows you water pHs, what your water should be pH 2 and things like that.
Well, that's awesome because that's like a guide. Right? It's like a guide to growing as well.
You see, what I would have liked to have actually done all the nutrient recipes and stuff too, but that's almost impossible to do because there are so many different nutrients out there that people can use.
And every plant might need a different nutrient at a different
strains.
Time.
Right. Different strains.
Even later in growth, some might need a little more boost in phosphorus and a little less in something else, So
you might want to fatten the buds up using something like bud candy.
Right, but that's what you're here for. Then they can come here and they can say, "Yo, dude, my shit needs something because the leaves are starting to yeller or something," and you'll be able to say,
that's because it needs to be transplanted."
Right.
Oh, sorry, I was just answering the question in general, but.
Oh, you were talking to me, huh, smartass? It does, and it's so sad now because now another leaf is starting to rot, and I'm like,
you gotta do it,
Mississippi, and she says she promises that today it's coming home, that my son is working, and that they're picking it. Oh no, she said something about my daughter picking them up. Oh, I'm just gonna walk there. Mississippi, I'm walking there. I don't care. I gotta get this shit.
It's not complicated.
I'm just gonna take her tomatoes out of her fucking pot, and I'm gonna throw the tomato plant in the yard and then dump it into my pot. And be like, there, at least I got some tomato soil.
The question I have, Hippie, for you, and what I'm gonna be really curious to see along this journey.
Oh, me too.
Is will you have the patience to wait until that plant is actually ready to be harvested?
Oh, absolutely.
And
I'm gonna let it grow till it's perfect, but it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be a rough battle.
I know it's gonna be kind of fun watching you squirm a little bit over it, but it'll be worth it in the end.
Oh, I'm so excited. Even if I get if I were to grow in my state, what would one plant get you? How much? I mean, if it went decent, okay, not great, but not horrible.
Look, in the environment that you're going to grow it in, you're going to grow it in the closet. Now, I haven't seen the dimensions of the closet, right? Like, if that closet is 2 feet by 4 feet wide, then theoretically you can plant train. You can do low stress training to bring that plant to cover that whole surface area, right? Whatever can be achieved with the one light.
Speaking of plant training, my man I seen a video. I don't know where. I can't remember. But I seen a video
tattoo shop
of who's got a tattoo shop? Whoa, we got a.
Well, I don't know. Chris says, "Where do you think I'm at right now?" So I'm just guessing he's either in the tattoo shop or working in his
he's in the vault.
In the vault. Nice.
He's working.
Sorry, but go ahead.
Oh, so I saw a video. No, I'm sorry because I cut you off. I think, but don't say like I did, punk.
No, I don't remember what happened. I just got distracted by that shiny comment.
You were talking about plant training, and I said, "Oh shit, plant training." Speaking of plant training, dude put a fucking piece of plywood on top of his plant.
Oh well.
And I guess that's how he was. I mean, it was strong enough, and he just put a piece of plywood on it, and then all the branches started growing out towards the outside. And then when he lifted the piece of plywood up, he had to fluff up the middle a little bit, but for the most part,
but what I'm thinking is
everything was trying to go up.
I mean, that's just a very unconventional method. Bizarre almost.
I'm not saying it was the right way. I'm just saying I saw a video of dude trying to train his plants, and he took a piece of plywood. It wasn't a huge piece of plywood, and it might have even been like thinner wood of some sort. I didn't sit there and examine the whole fucking thing. I just sat there.
The problem with the wood is that number one, the light won't penetrate it. So while you're pushing your plants to the outside, you're still not doing your plants the ultimate benefit. It can be done in better ways.
Okay.
That are a little more finicky, but it's okay. It's worth it because
now somebody I used to know, somebody that I used.
Hold on. I'm going to send you a picture in your messenger right now.
Not me.
Yep.
Why?
Because I want you to see what a properly trained plant looks like.
Oh, I've seen it. It's gorgeous.
Well, maybe somehow you can get it up on the.
No, you would have to email it to me, I think, and then that would still be a bitch. Can you send it to my email?
What's the email? Hold on.
I can't just tell it out there. You know
what the fuck am I going to send it to your email then?
I'm a celebrity, man. I can't just.
All right. I won't. I just sent it to you in Messenger. But
maybe I'll hold it up in front of the camera.
This is, I mean, this person has done an exquisite job. It was somebody on Facebook who posted
it. It was like a million little straight up little buds of just beautifulness.
Oh, this is so
like
well done.
Like a top of a 2-foot plant, and it was just.
Well, this guy's got this plant, and I'm going to say that he's got. Oh, fuck, man, I don't even know. Maybe 30 top buds coming out of it because he's trained it so well. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm
think of a candelabra, right? You're coming up like this, but he's got so many, and they're all really like. He's done amazing. This guy.
I would think that somebody who is trying to keep a, let's say it this way, a low profile would be one that wants to keep their plants at a low profile. So
this guy's actually outside.
Yeah, well, I thought the guy I saw on the video as well was outside, but even so, like if you're living in a state where it's you don't want it. Somebody was telling me they had it on a deck and it went over the top of the deck, and then the cops came and their girlfriend.
That happened to me.
Yes, I thought it was you, but I was just
happened to me.
Just gonna let it play it off until you caught on. So you want to keep your plant low if you have to keep your plant low. So this is what we're talking about now. Like I said, somebody that I used to know. They used to use wire mesh, not mesh, but like chicken wire, and they would use it and try to hold it down with that for the most part over the whole plant, and then keep the plant.
Yeah, they were probably using that in string or that in
I mean,
plant wire.
I'm sure there was other things involved as well. Yeah, but it was it looked fairly ghetto. But
well, there's a couple of reasons that's a good idea if you're outside. Number one, it keeps the
professional pot smoker. How are you?
Animals away, that cage. But when your plant gets towards the end of its cycle, the buds get really heavy, and it's not uncommon for the entire branch to fall right from the weight because they're top heavy. You've designed them that way,
of course,
so they're top heavy, right? So it comes to a point where having a cage around your plant is really important. Because that way the outside buds can't fall away. They're contained, right? They can only go so far, and the branches don't break. So it comes a point that protecting, like a bird netting or what we call trellis. We used to run a lot of trellis in the gardens, 3 layers of trellis, as a matter of fact. And then we train the plants through the trellis. And
go ahead, finish what
when they got too heavy, the trellis kept them from being able to fall away and break.
Now these big grow places that do large amounts of grow, do they let them grow 8 to 10 to 12 feet like you did back in the day when you got yourself in trouble, or do they do it like on shelving units and they keep them at a low grow, all of them, and
I've seen both,
because then you could do like 3 or 4 shelving units full of 2 foot each or 3 foot each,
right?
Depending on how tall your towers are, how tall your warehouse is.
When you're growing commercially, like a licensed producer does, or a big garden to supply the market.
I've never been in one, so
they're all about timing. So they run it as a science. They know that they cut clones. For those clones to root properly can take 2 weeks, 3 weeks
Right.
to really develop the right root system for the first transplant.
Yeah, like those pictures you sent me. Now those were beautiful. They're gonna
Yeah,
last
because
how
all the
long?
roots
And
are
they're
to the
safe.
cubes, right?
Yeah, they were very pretty. I like them. I want them. Can you send them?
That's when it's time to transplant. We
Where do
would check
where
all
do
our
you get
clones.
those from?
What's that?
Those clones like that. Can you
Where do you
I
get one
guess
from?
nothing? Are you trying to get me in trouble here? What are you doing? Where do you get those clones from? Like, where can you buy those, or is that illegal?
Well, I don't
The
know.
ones
You're in the States, right? I know here
picture
that if
that
you're
you
a
sent
medical
me.
grower, you can buy the clones from your licensed producer, and they'll come shipped in a similar type of packaging.
I got to keep my eye out at the festival, not the Buck Sticky Festival this week, next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, whenever it is. But the next Canafest, the following weekend, the 23rd and 24th, I think it is, or something like that, out in Kutztown, PA. I'll be there chilling out, and I'm going to look around, see if anybody's actually selling clones. Because remember, I was there at this one here recently, and they were selling plants, and I'm a dumbass because I should have bought
Yeah.
1 or 2 of those plants.
Yeah.
Because I'd be a little ahead of the game right
Yeah,
now.
but you don't know what those plants were either, so
That's true. That's true.
that's
But
the problem. Like you might have known they were cannabis, but you wouldn't necessarily know they're.
and that's the thing. Like, I don't know if this dude, the seed that I got growing is a sativa, and if it is, I'm fucked.
Yeah, you don't know. Well,
I'm screwed. I got
visually, I'll be able to give you a pretty close identification when that plant hits about a foot tall.
Okay.
I should be able to
That makes me feel
make
better.
a
But
reasonable guess based upon the appearance and the structure of the plant. Because
when you say it's bad, I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna go into the selling game again. Damn it.
yeah, sativas and indicas look different. Hybrids, because the problem is there's very few pure sativas anymore, and not as many pure indicas, but there's a lot of hybrid going on, right? A lot of 80% indica, 20% sativa, 60% sativa, 40% indica.
Right.
The numbers are like that depending on how the breeders decided to cross those strains and what they were looking for, what traits they were trying to enhance.
Now, if I wanted to make love with 2 of those clones, could I? Eventually, I mean,
well, you'd have to grow them into
plants,
into mature plants, and then you can start doing your genetic manipulation.
So then I would have to
strong
do that
enough,
whole, I would
right?
have to do
Because
that
when
whole
you talk about
DLC.
plant splicing, you're cutting right into the main vein of the plant to splice, unless you got thick enough branching.
By the way, what a main vein
Right.
I got on my plant. Yeah, you got a lot of questions to read over there. Get over there and read that shit, because there's too much writing for me. Oh my goodness.
Brisbane jet lag from Kanahari from Australia saved heaps on medical cost of weed. Want to get together and organize a project. You'd be better if you want to organize a project in Australia. You'd be better off dealing with Canada, because Canada and Australia are both part of the Commonwealth. They're very similar countries. They have very strong relationships, and Canada has the only true major legal cannabis market in the world.
Oh, Canada. Canada.
Like Canada can export. No state in the U.S. can export their weed overseas or any of it, but Canada can. We already export to Germany, France, different countries around the world are buying their medical marijuana from Canada, because we can ship it across our federal borders, right? Because we're federally legal. So the states, you have that problem because the border is federally controlled. So it doesn't matter whether Colorado or California or Oregon has full legality. They can't ship it out of the country because it has to go through a federal border. So it's a problem, right?
Right. Makes sense.
That would be where you'd want to look. I mean, if you're looking for just research partners and stuff like that, then of course the United States is valuable, because there's a lot of great growers in Colorado and in all the legal states. So you can gain a lot of information and insight. But if you're trying to work on something that actually involves the transfer of cannabis from one company to another, you can't look at the US or the UK, really, because the UK just doesn't have the structure for it. Chris says, yeah, Garrett, they call it Sea of Green. Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about. Could be called sea green, or it could be called scrog too. There's two different terminologies for it, but yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's where you maximize the canopy. So the canopy is where the light hits direct. That's when you talk about the canopy of your garden, you're talking about what's getting the direct sunlight. So the direct sunlight, once your garden is full enough, is only at the top of the plants. It doesn't, there is light penetration obviously into the plant, but the canopy is the very top layer. And that's the layer that you want to have the most full. That's why when you train your plants, you want to train them so all your side branches and all your whole plant is like level on top, except you have branching sites coming up all over the place. And that's where you get maximum canopy. And that's why when you're using a smaller environment to grow, like a tent, maximizing every square inch of that room only benefits you. You already have to spend the time anyway growing the plant. So if you can train the plant to be the maximum number of useful budding sites, which is better for you. Doesn't take you any more time except the time it takes you to actually train the plant. And that's quite easy to do, because once you start moving your main branches from going in this direction to going in this direction, all subsequent branches that come off of that one branch are going to go towards the light, because that's what the plant will do. So they'll change their direction. They'll actually curve and start seeking the light.
Yeah, I do that with my little fella right now. Like if I see one side is a little droopier than the other, then I move my light towards that side, and then they all kind of perk up and they come up back up to the, the way they're supposed to look.
Yeah, because they like the light, right? They like the light. And
oh yeah, and you can see like every time I move the light up another inch, whoop, they're right back up to that top of that inch. By the next morning, they're ready. They're like, let's go. Come on, move me into a bigger pot. I want to get bigger.
Here it says, okay, this might seem odd, but do you think in the future they will have like weed combines like normal case ID? So combines for harvesting in the fields. Okay, I get what you get. I see what you mean by that. Yeah, absolutely. I was a little confused by that case IH thing. Yeah, so I think so. They already use things like that in China and Russia. That's the two biggest hemp producers in the world. But in the States right now, they don't have the massive hemp farms. So the companies aren't. Hemp is a very tough plant, very tough fiber. It's very hard on equipment to work with it. And 100 years ago, they had all the right equipment for it because it wasn't illegal. But since it's been illegal and all these issues, hemp has slowly become less and less of a major crop in the Western world. So the equipment's kind of gone by the wayside. So it's going to have to come back to the extent where a company like Case is interested in investing the money to build a beefier system that's great with cannabis. So. And then the professional pot smoker says, does it depend on if you're using pots or lights? The cost to obtain a growing license over 260,000 Australian. I'm hoping to run an initiative to allow for individuals like me to grow my own. I need a partner with professional plant grower. You boys seem to know your stuff. I can get access to the seed bank in Amsterdam through old contacts of mine. So the idea, in my opinion, would be to approach it the way that it was approached in Canada. In Canada, you had people who were prescribed medical cannabis. And you can't, if you have a prescription in Canada and you don't want to grow your own, you can only be registered to 1 or 2 licensed producers, which means you only have access to products that are produced at the 1 or 2 licensed producers at which you're registered to as a patient. Now, companies discontinue strains sometimes. They end up with a weakness in the genetic, and don't forget, they're chasing the money too, right?
I'll take those strains, companies. You give them to me.
And strains come in and out of favor. Like there was a time Blue Dream was all of it. There was a time where Purple Kush was such a big deal. There was a time when sour tangy was the big thing. There was a time where Gorilla Glue #4 was a big thing. There was a time where Dude, Where's My Bike was a big thing.
Pineapple Express.
Yeah, Pineapple Express. So they go through cycles. So companies want to capitalize on
that's a long time ago.
The market value of those strains when they're in the time. So when you're stuck with just these licensed producers, there may come a time where they stop producing the medicine you need, or they're out of stock because they can only grow so much, right? So this becomes a problem for a patient because patients don't need to be smoking a different strain every week. That's a recreational thing. When you're a patient, you need to find a preparation and a strain or combination of strains that alleviate your symptoms or provide you with the relief from the problem that you're dealing with. For every day, because you're a daily consumer to use cannabis as medicine. It's a daily medication.
That's what confused me is what you said prior, and my brain is farting right now. Yeah. So I don't remember, but you just said something about us not using every day medical users, but now you're saying medical users need to use it every day.
No, medical users use every day, but they may not have access to the right product every day, right? Because you're dependent on your supplier. You're not producing for yourself. So some people took it into their own hands and were growing their own plants and got arrested for doing it because it wasn't legal. And when they went into the courts, they presented to the judge the situation. The reason I'm growing my own cannabis, Judge, is because the medicine I need is not always available from my licensed producer. And it's not like, oh, we're out of cannabis today, we'll have some ready on Thursday. It doesn't work like that.
We have some on backup. It's coming in.
You need 3 months to pull a harvest. If you're really pushing it and you're in the right cycle, you can do it in 2. But
hold on, Dr. High. I think you just gave me the okay to grow weed in my state.
Well, if you're willing to challenge the courts,
I'm willing.
Yes. So these growers, medical patients who are growing their own, went in front of the courts, and on more than one occasion, because they all kind of used the same couple of lawyers.
Oh, I should probably wait to see to see if they won or they lost, huh? Before I make that decision.
Well, they won, and I'm going to tell you how it worked. And this is what I'm saying because Australia and Canada are very, very similar in their political systems and the way things function and their outlook on life and things like that. Right? There's a great deal of similarity between Canada and Australia. So what these guys did was they went into court and they presented their case to the judge, and they're medical patients. They need what they need. It's like saying you're on a prescription for simvastatin for your cholesterol for the rest of your life. And then you go to the pharmacy and they say, well, we're out of simvastatin today. Well, when will you have it in? Well, it could be another 8 weeks before we have it in.
Okay.
Well, what do I do in the meantime? I'm sorry, you're only allowed to fill your prescriptions at our pharmacy. So I guess you're out of luck. And that's what was happening to some of these medical patients. So they went into court and they challenged the fact that they were doing their own cultivation. And the judges every time sided with the patient. And once in the court in Canada, and I don't know if it's like the same way in Australia for this part of it, but in Canada, if a judge makes a ruling that countervenes the law, so the law says one thing, but the judge actually makes a ruling in a case that says that this law isn't valid or shouldn't be applied in this situation, then the government has 1 year to challenge that decision. If they don't challenge the decision in the year, or they challenge it and lose, the new decision becomes the covering law. And this is how the ACMPR, or Access to Cannabis for Medical Purposes Regulations, came into effect in Canada, was through these series of court cases where the law was changed by the judge because it wasn't a fair law. And then the government was given time to respond. They chose not to respond. Instead, they took that time to institute a proper framework for the implementation of this new policy.
I get it. I see exactly what you're saying, but I think that I have to break the law to create the law, right?
Well, some do. Some do. And there's always martyrs, right?
A whole bunch of us who did it, if we all did it here in America and said, yo, this is how it's going to be now, then maybe we would be able to make a difference. But I think you have to actually break the law.
And that's, you do, because there has to be the sacrificial lamb, right, for change.
Well,
there always is. Like, change is always resisted. People resist change. Even when change is for their good, they still resist change, right? Because we're happy just to stay in our own lane and do our thing. So people really don't like change. It's you want to get pushback from somebody, try and change something about their life and see how they push back, right? So, but what you're talking about, unity would be everything in this case. If you could get, the States is 350 million people. If you could get every cannabis user, every single one, to start their own grow and be willing to get arrested for it, the courts would have to do something because they simply couldn't process the number of cases. They don't have the money, the time, or the resource to pursue it. And if everybody's argument was, this is my medicine, I have a prescription, but when I go to my dispensary, I can't get it. Or when I go to my
never have kosher tangy anymore.
Can't afford it. That was another thing that was brought into play in these courts, was that the cost was too high. Nobody could afford. Like, think about this, Hippie. I had 2 prescriptions during the legal time. My first was for 33 grams a day.
I know. That's
my
awesome.
Second was for 50 grams a day.
I know, that's even more awesome.
Now, for me to fill a 50 gram a day cannabis prescription, even at the best price I get in Canada, is the store where I shop in Tyendinaga, where I'll pay $5 a gram all the way up.
Shout out.
That's $250 a day times 7 days a week I have to spend for my medicine.
You said it, brother.
So how is anybody going to be able to do that? And the courts were able to recognize that, yes, this is a problem. And that's how we got over into the cultivation for medical purposes. And then once they legalized cannabis recreationally, they made it up to each province to determine whether they wanted to allow people to cultivate cannabis at home or not. And then they set a limit of 4 plants per person. And
I got to cut you off.
Yes, except for 2.
I got to cut you off. We got to do a commercial. Yep. But we'll be right back. You're hanging with Da.Hippie and DoktorHigh. Listen, guys, if you're out there and you don't want to miss the show, you don't have to watch it. You can find us on WTHC on Live 365 and tune in. And you can listen to us on the radio. We're there live every single day. We'll be right back.
Hey, Mississippi, why don't we take a ride to Da.Hippie, PA today?
Dauphin? What's in Dauphin?
Bella's Badass Crystals.
Oh, but I thought you hang out with them on Facebook and on TikTok.
That's only on Mondays, Tuesdays, Saturdays, Sundays. Today, I want to go there and pick up all my great finds.
That sounds like a great road trip. That's Bella's Badass Crystals on TikTok and Facebook. But you can also find them on the top of the mountain in Dauphin, PA.
They are badass.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're going to go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you going to do? You're going to go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You got to dig deeper. Drive into physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. No, you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. We'll go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Are you looking to have some crocheted made by hand stuff like your Grammy used to do for you? Then you need to check out You Have Me Hooked 23 on Etsy and TikTok. Vern can do what you need. She crochets hats, she crochets animals, everything, anything you may need. She also makes vinyl stickers, banners for your business. Anything that you might want that she can do, she can definitely do it for you. Want an sticker? She's got you covered. Anything. I mean anything that you may need. She has cheap and reasonable prices. Check her out. You Have Me Hooked 23 on Etsy and TikTok.
What I'm curious about, Professional Pot Smoker, is I'm looking at your comment about the cost that you're spending in Australia, and you're saying that your general practitioner consult is $175 per session, and that's one per month.
WTHC, we're back, and DoktorHigh is in the middle of a conversation with our friend,
that's okay.
Professional Pot Smoker. What's going on, fellas? I couldn't hear a word you guys were saying.
Well, what I'm curious about, right? Let me just go quick. Garrett says, can I have it shipped from Canada to Minnesota since it's all legal and whatever? No, absolutely you cannot, because to get from Canada to Minnesota, you still have the U.S. border, which is a federally controlled space. It's federal land all the way around, and you can't ship across federal land. So there's an absolute no to that. Yeah, no good, right? Okay, so Professional Pot Smoker. In Australia, general practitioner consults are still $175 per session, one per month. First question I have is, are you required to see your doctor on a monthly basis in order to keep your prescription in force? In Canada, it's once a year. So if you want to keep your prescription, you do have to see your doctor one time per year. I think it's the same for you, right, Hippie, there in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I have to see him once a year. I got to pay him his fee. And then he says I am still crazy enough and hurt enough to continue on my prescription. There is no prescription, though. Like, I don't have a limit. I can go there today and buy a quarter pound, and I can go there tomorrow and buy a quarter pound if I wanted. I don't think that there's a limit. There was in the beginning, and then they were like, we're not giving these people enough. They need more. So then they were like, here, maybe you won't come here as often, because people were going like every day in the beginning, like picking up an eighth and then coming back the next day and picking up an eighth, so they were like, they upped it to like, you can get as much as you want. Just don't be a dealer, I guess, is what they're hoping.
Yeah, exactly.
But at these prices, you could never be a dealer. You would never make
can't
any
turn
money.
around and resell it. There's no money in it.
Yeah, you would never. Make
it's more expensive than the black market as it is for the most part. You know what I mean? And then you got taxation, right? And that's something cool that's happening in Canada right now, which I'll get to shortly. But in Canada, a medical cannabis user pays tax on their cannabis, and that ain't right. You shouldn't pay tax on medicine.
Well, we pay I don't know if there's tax. I never really paid attention. I think it's whatever it says on the thing is what we get, but then you get a discount or whatever. Man, I am glitching bad today. But so anyway, and then we have to pay the state $50, and then they send us our card. Well, actually, you got to pay the state 2 weeks prior to your card expiring, which was my issue this month. And then you got to meet with your doctor within the next 2 weeks and then have him send over the thing as quick as possible so that your card gets there in time for your next card. But this time I had to wait almost 2 weeks because I was a slacker.
Mm.
Yeah.
So Professional Potsworker was saying that the medicine is dispensed in a pharmacy. The cheapest is $100 for a 10-gram tub. So that's $10 a gram. Pretty expensive. But I don't know what the production costs would be like in Australia, or if that's cannabis that's being shipped from Canada to Australia, because I do believe that some medical product does come from Canada to Australia. But I'm not 100% sure. The oil is $150 for a 30 ml bottle. Boy, you think you're getting screwed in the States? That's screwed right there. And I tell you, I can tell you this. I could make a full 1,000 milligram THC, 1,000 milligrams CBD, 1-to-1 ratio, so 1,000 and 1,000, in a 30 ml bottle of oil for a cost of about 17, 20, for about $30. And that includes the cost of the bottle.
Whoa.
So that's extremely.
Does it have an eyedropper in the bottle? Because that will raise the price.
Yeah, no, the most 30 ml bottles do come with the eyedropper. So,
okay,
for the most part, that's the right size.
And then
the caps are $179 for a 1 mil screw-on cap. No gummies or edibles, but it is federally approved. But the government is on lockdown. Yeah, I mean, it is pretty unfair considering it's medication, right? And that's what people are having a hard time. I don't know if it's governments or what kind of people are involved in this process, but what don't they understand about the fact that a doctor says that you need this for your medical well-being? A doctor says this. Now,
because I think that some doctors, I'm sorry, but I think some doctors and most government would think that they're still against this. So that's why they don't accept it. They're like, that doctor's a quack who's handing out these medical marijuana cards. This is not even regulated yet. This is not even federally legal yet. Who is this crazy ass doctor that's just giving out weed cards? You know, no,
this is the question.
I love you.
That doctor got the exact same training. The doctor that thinks that it's beneficial because he's taken the time, he's looked at the studies, he's read the information. Because as you know, from talking to Dr. Harris, they don't just get to call up the board and say, I wanted to prescribe cannabis today. And the board says, okay, thank you very much. You're good to go.
Yeah, but
of course, they have to do some deeper dive into understanding how cannabis works as medicine.
Right. And I'm hoping Dr. Harris isn't listening right now. But I think he said it was like a 12-hour course, right?
It was 4 hours.
4-hour course.
Yeah.
And you're now certified to be a medical cannabis doctor.
Yeah. Which I think is
short.
But the difference with Dr. Harris is that he has found a great interest.
But he has the passion.
In medicine. Exactly.
Some people are doing it for no passion. Like them people that, like, I'll tell you, I was walking through the fair, and Curly Kell can attest to this because she was there. So I got her finally stopped sniffing my neck. We got to walking around, and there was a woman there who said, if you want your medical card renewed, just hit us up. Here's my card. We'll do it for you for $60. And they're like trying to undercut Dr. Harris. And I was like, no, I'd rather pay my man, Dr. Harris, the $150 that I pay him, or whatever it is, 100, whatever. I don't remember. But I think it's 150 total. So 100 to him and 150 to the state. I'd rather pay him the extra $40 and get it from a medical doctor than some who might be a doctor who's just willing to do it for $60 and steal everybody's clients. I don't know. You know what I mean? Does that even make any sense?
Well, like a doctor will charge a certain amount per visit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like in Canada, fortunately, if you go to see a doctor for your cannabis prescription, or you go to a doctor for your high blood pressure medicine, the government pays for that appointment either way. You know what I mean? You don't have to pay to see the doctor. He can take your provincial Medicare card, whatever it's OHIP or Medicare in Quebec or whatever it is, but your government insurance, and they bill that. So the doctor's visit's not a problem. Going back to professional pot smoker here, he says yes, that he has to see the doctor every month to maintain his prescription. So
every
that's
month or every year?
they're every month. So they're really on them in Australia. But
Wow.
what that tells me is that Australia is very serious about this being medicine, right? And they're willing to go as far as to see if it can be beneficial in treating short-term situations like pain after surgery,
memory loss.
Well, memory loss is going to be more of a long-term thing, probably. But you know, those things that would be more short-term, right?
And they were going to help me with short-term, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, short-term.
So it's interesting, but I mean, it's exceptionally expensive. And once these people start to understand that this is medicine like any other medicine, then hopefully they'll understand that there's
Right. So
that it's very hard on the patients to be able to cover the cost of their medicine under this particular regimen.
all right. So Mrs. Hippie is not going to be a fan of this, and I'll probably get a big smack in the head when you're not looking. But in the spring, or my next grow season, I am going to call and tell the police that I'm growing and say, I'm doing this, come arrest me.
Why?
So that
Just
I
do
can
it.
but I want people to know so that I can.
Well, yeah, but listen,
I want to be the
specific.
one. We need to get arrested so that they know that this is medicine, and I can't go without my medicine. I have been suffering since the kosher tangy shortage of 2022.
You know, like
this is funny, but kosher tangy was my shit.
Yeah.
I gotta find somebody that grows kosher tangy, man.
Well, like strains come in and out of favor, right? So
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's
That's
gone
what's
now.
happened,
I
dude.
can't find it nowhere.
somebody somewhere will have seeds,
I miss it so.
but but you got to find it. And I'm sure you could if you Googled them. I'm sure you'd find the seeds.
I don't make any efforts. I'm
No.
hoping that they just show up at the door someday.
Yeah, that's it.
One of my big fans just sends me kosher tangy seeds.
Paid 40 in California for a year, was 150 when imported. You were able to bring your cannabis back from California and had to pay duties? Is that what you're saying? At 150 when it was imported, you had to pay duty at Australian customs when you came into the country. You were actually able to do that?
I am so confused. I heard duty when it went to poop immediately.
So, and then he says Tilray from Canada fuming all Australia GPs. Same course though. A 4-hour prescription course. Yep.
I don't want no damn tampons.
Tilray is kind of cool because I grew up in a different place than I'm in now. I grew up in southern Ontario, right by the border with Detroit. And about 30 kilometers from there is a place called Leamington, Ontario. And for many, many, many years, all my growing up years, until cannabis was legalized in 2018, Leamington, Ontario was known for being a tomato producing area because they had a huge Heinz plant there. And that's where all of the Canadian
ketchup came from.
Was made, right? And for some reason, I don't know why Heinz pulled out of there, but Tilray started in that facility. So they actually have converted an old tomato production facility into a cannabis production facility.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Pretty interesting. But Tilray is one of the absolute biggest companies in Canada from licensed producer status for sure. UK is cheaper.
Well, I hope that our friend Steve, good day, mate, is listening because he's in Australia. So I mean, he's probably suffering those same prices. I didn't recognize. No wonder the man's always never got no weed because he can't afford that shit. What are you doing?
Wow.
You fell asleep? Oh, I thought you fell asleep on me. I was like, damn.
No, I'm just reading.
We were doing so good.
The UK is cheaper, but much more restrictive.
Cheaper there?
Yeah, but they're giving stuff like Epidiolex and things like that. Like, it's not the UK's medical marijuana program. I don't think is on par with what you have in Australia or what we have here in Canada or what you have.
Did I say the UK? I'm sorry, or did somebody else say the UK? And
no, professional pot smoker was talking about.
Okay. I was lost for a second. I'm like, I don't remember saying UK. I'm saying Steve from Australia.
Yeah. No, I'm just going through the comments there.
Oh, okay.
Kelly's going to send you some tampons. Who's going to send those to, Kelly?
You, I guess. So
do I need them?
I guess you're a little cranky today.
Am I?
No, I don't know what the hell she's talking about.
But that it's infuriating, right? Because the doctors are doctors for a reason. They spent a long time becoming doctors. They're not careless or haphazard people for the most part, right? I mean, you're going to have outliers everywhere. Not everybody is going to be the same. You're going to have your you're going to have your ones who suffer from mental illness, and you're going to have your ones that suffer from drug addiction, and they're going to be sprinkled throughout the doctors.
Are doctors that have mental illness and drug addiction?
Well, I mean, they're just a segment of society like anybody else, right?
All right. Well, wait a second. I want to clarify something. When we talked to Dr. Harris, it was so evident and obvious that he was passionate about it, and he had so much more knowledge than a 4-hour course. So, I know that man is doing everything in his power to be the leading doctor in medical marijuana. I mean, he's working as much as he can on that.
Well, I don't think he's doing it to be the leading
Dr. Harris. No,
I don't think he's doing it to be the leading doctor. I think that he does it simply because. Yeah, but what I think is that he's just a very conscientious individual who really cares about providing the best level of care to the patients who entrust their well-being and health to him. And
he knows only,
it's only in order for him to be the best that he can be, he has to look at more information. He has to learn. He has to educate himself. It's good he's passionate about it, for sure.
Yes,
and that's what it's all about.
And then he goes back to that $60 card lady who said, "Yeah, just give me a call and I'll give you a car for $60." I bet you she's not doing any study, and she did that 4-hour course. She's got her little degree, and she's like, "Yep, $60, $60, $60, $60, $60, $60, $60, $60, $60." Sorry, got a little out of control.
No, but that's and that's the thing, and I think that a lot. See, I've talked about this before, but when I was doing the patient-doctor matching and I sat in on the conferences, I was always really amazed by the amount of knowledge that these doctors had about cannabis. So I think what happens is that when a doctor decides that he's developed a great enough curiosity for cannabis, he wants to look into it more.
Or she.
And as he starts, or she, and as they start to look into it, they start to become more and more amazed at how, like Dr. Harris said, he doesn't understand how one plant can cure migraine and then help you with your Crohn's disease. In traditional medicine, those are two different pills, right? So how can one substance do both? So it piques their curiosities. They start to look more into it. And the more they look into it, the more they're surprised by the potential of the plant. So they continue to look into it because doctors are scientists, right? At the heart of being a doctor is being a scientist.
Not very bright, though, because I'm not very bright scientists, because we've been telling them for 50 years now that this shit is good and that it works. And they're just catching on now. I mean, come on, guys.
But in their clinical teaching, they probably were taught the same thing that everybody else was, that it was bad. In their medical
scientist, as a scientist, you don't think that people have been studying this forever and they know that it's good? Come on.
They haven't been.
Come on.
No, they haven't been. The only and even now, a lot of the studies that are written and a lot of the papers that are written are not clinical studies. They're not done as a clinical. There are a lot of them are what they call observational studies, where doctors observe a group of patients and take the patient feedback for the results. And this is the thing, and that's how it was done forever, because in the United States, only one place could test cannabis, only one, and that was University of Mississippi. And that was a government-funded lab that could not conduct any experimentation that was not government approved. And the government wouldn't fund
Right, and you were saying they would grow their own weed too, right? You wouldn't take they wouldn't take samples from other places. They wouldn't.
Yeah, they couldn't because of the illegal status of the plant itself, right?
Right.
So the government controlled every test that was done. The government controlled, therefore, the results. If they wanted to do a study on how cannabis could benefit asthma patients, the federal government said no. And if they said, we want to do a study about how cannabis affects the upper respiratory system, the government says yes, because it's an upper respiratory system irritant. That's why it causes coughing.
Right.
So that's a negative. So let's fund the negative study, and we're not going to fund the one that might show that it helps people, because we don't want it in mainstream medicine. So no, it wasn't studied. You had doctors like Dr. Raphael Mechoulam.
Yeah,
in Israel, you do have doctors that have gone against the grain and actually studied this plant, but they're not American doctors. They're doctors in other parts of the world that had enough tolerance to allow them to conduct this type of study.
Right.
You know?
And Dr. Dre, don't forget him.
Yeah.
He did a lot of studying of it.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, we got to do a commercial. You read all that crazy stuff pot smokers over there writing, and we'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate
it's
teen
just
slang.
I can't read all that.
Now, when a teen says something is on fleek,
and I'm going to address what
like saying
Professional Pot Smoker was talking about.
it simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Her knowledge.
We're going to strip the hippie naked. He's going to do the show topless.
She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed.
You don't get to see
Once,
these goods.
this woman.
Well, it'd be nice if Fern gets you your little gift there before you got 100 subscribers. We could really do a
her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella.
Cannabis cake.
I still call her mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Mississippi, why don't we take a ride to Da.Hippie, PA today?
Doffin? What's in Doffin?
Bella's Badass Crystals.
Oh, but I thought you hang out with them on Facebook and on TikTok.
That's only on Mondays, Tuesdays, Saturdays, Sundays. Today, I want to go there and pick up all my great finds.
That sounds like a great road trip. That's Bella's Badass Crystals on TikTok and Facebook, but you can also find them at the top of the mountain in Dauphin, PA. They are badass.
Badger Heart Puppetry. Badger Heart Puppetry.
Yeah, it's headed across the border, unfortunately, Garrett.
If you need some kick-ass puppets, contact Sorge at 1-636-234-1535. Send his with a file in it. Your puppet needs. He can fix puppets.
I could have used that 12 years ago.
He has puppets off the rack for cheap prices. Contact Sorge today at 1-636-234-1535 or on TikTok or Facebook at Badger Heart Puppetry. He also makes LARPing items too.
Yeah, baby, it's Mark Sticky. Join me as I return to the stage for the first time in over 4
You're
years.
gonna have a great time that weekend.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, you're gonna have fun. That's in what, 1 week or 2 weeks now?
It's coming up, man. I got to start getting shit ready. It is going to be the 16th and the 17th of September. So
that's
a week and a half.
Week and a half, 10 days. Yeah.
And a half, a little more than that.
The OVDJ camp out on Facebook events.
It's going to be
Or
great.
go to mucksticky.com.
I don't even know what song you played at the end of the episode yesterday.
Could have been this one.
No, it was a different one.
Every single day. If you're ever in need, we smoke lots of weed every single day. It seems like all I ever talk about is smoking weed, but I know you like it too. And my back don't have a seed, so I'm motivated singing songs and puffing lots of cannabis. I've been to Amsterdam a time or two, and hallelujah.
Yeah, I think it was the same guy, Garrett.
Shaking in your grinder. What's new, buckaroo? What's shaking in your grinder? What's shaking in your grinder? What's shaking in your grinder? We never had no fucked up shit like this before. That's Muck Sticky up there over DoktorHigh's head over there. You can look him up on
Move it over so it looks like that top hat's right on my head.
There's a little icon above your head, his hat.
Yeah.
Oh, you can come to our Discord. We hang out with him. He's our boy. Well, we're his boys. He's amazing. He's a great guy.
He's got a bunch of videos on YouTube too. You can check them out.
Oh yeah, you can find him on Facebook, YouTube. Just look up Muck Sticky. It's hot.
So what do you call him? Muck when you're talking to him?
Muck. Mr. Sticky.
Yeah.
I think it's Buckaroo if it's the one I think it was. But all of his songs are great. You'll come out. He's got 19 albums or so, 18 albums. He even has a children's album out there for the kids with no bad words. Look at this. This shit's gonna end on the 20 again. Like I'm some sort of genius or something. I call him Big Daddy.
Dialects.
WTHC, there he is, Big Daddy, Muck Sticky. I love him. He's the man. Every single day. That should be our opening song for our show every day. She said, "Don't let him lie." He calls him Big Daddy. I do.
What he's got to do is write an independent song for us when he has time.
Oh yeah, the guy doesn't have time for anything. He's busy as fuck, especially right now. He's like dancing, exercising. He hasn't been on tour in 4 years.
Yeah,
he's back there like doing flips and shit in the back room, trying to get ready for his show. He's a very active man in
my
his
buddy
shows.
from the Tea Party is just about to go on tour, and
I know you told me
every day about his time from the gym, coming from CrossFit, and how it's killing him, but he's got to get back into the right shape to be touring.
Right.
A lot of energy to drum.
He said he's been off for 4 years. He's been off for 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's been working out a lot longer than that because he's not in bad shape in any way. But still, to be out there 2 nights in a row for 2 or 3 hours, however long, running back and forth, dancing.
It's a lot of energy, right?
You got to get that oxygen level back up. You got to be able to sing and get all those words out all the time and be able to, blah, 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 and especially the way he goes, he's got that shit flowing, man. I can't even keep up with his shit. So
I'm sure you're gonna have a blast. So back to
great.
Professional pot smoker. He says, I have a Purple Pro machine, and the THC from the pharmacy is not accurate. There's no way to complain at the moment. Well, I'll tell you about THC testing. Doesn't matter where you're doing it.
First of all, you want THCA.
Well, no, it's not even that. But at the licensed producer I worked at, I was the supervisor of inventory and packaging. And part of my duties in that role was to prepare the samples that went out to the labs for testing. So we used 3 different labs for the testing, and I was very diligent about preparing what I would call a representative sample of the harvest to get the consumer the most accurate THC number possible, right? So I wouldn't put all bottom buds in to get a low number or all colas to get a high number. I would take, buds from different parts of the plant, because as soon as it arrives at the lab, they're going to grind it all into one powder. They're not going to test the bud. They're going to grind it all so it's one, bunch
that's
of
interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what they'll do.
Very interesting. Very cool.
And these labs always had different results from each other. So I asked our quality assurance, our QA manager, who was really responsible for a lot of the compliance and labeling and all this kind of stuff, why that was. And she told me that there are different methods of testing cannabis. And these labs don't necessarily all do the exact same tests with the exact same, one might use a gas spectrometer, one might use, a different method or a different, there are a couple of different methods they can use.
Yeah.
So a different method will give you a different result. So even real labs don't agree on the product's numbers. They'll be very similar to each other, but they'll never match. From what I've seen, I've never seen a matching sample ever. And these are like big pro labs. So the machine that you have at home, Purple Pro machine, I don't know the specific machine, but I do know what these home testing machines are like. And they're not always the best for accuracy either.
They're like pregnancy tests.
I mean, yeah.
Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong.
You can get one that's very accurate for the most part. That'll give you like very similar results to you would get from lab testing. But you got to spend $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 on that machine. It's not your $500 or $1,000 machine at home.
That's for somebody who's doing more than what I'm doing. I mean, I want to test my bud at home because I want to see if they're lying to my ass, but I'm not spending $5,000 on something.
No, the reason, like in the environment where I work, the reason we had a machine like that was so that we could determine actually peak harvest times, right? And that was part of our record keeping, was pulling a sample from a plant as we're approaching that harvest and start analyzing the numbers. So they may not have matched to the numbers from the lab, but they were good enough to see whether we were increasing the THC numbers in the plant, if things were, what direction they were going in, right? If today's test was better than yesterday's test, the numbers were getting a little bit better. If we added ice around the base of the plants, we could see the result of that in the change in the testing the following days or the following couple of days. So it was done to really fine tune our timings, because when you're in a commercial environment, if you can save 3 days in turnaround time from a room being harvested to the new plants going back in to be in flower, and don't forget you got a full day in there of sanitation that has to be done in between grows. So you have to clean that place top to bottom, just sparkling clean, right?
Yeah.
So,
the more we talk and the more we get to know each other, the more you're scaring me about some of these dispensaries. Not the dispensaries, because I always find my dispensary to be very clean and well taken care of.
They're just a point of distribution, but not a point of production.
Right. But the point of production place starts to scare me, because you've said it in the past, and just little things that you put it all together and you get a little nervous because of all the different intricate little things that they have to do, like you said, as soon as you start growing more than a certain amount of plants, then you're losing quality because you're concerned about making more for everybody, and you're not really concerned about the quality as much. Not all of them, not every place.
It's not that you're not concerned about the quality. It's just the situation being one of which cannabis is labor intensive.
Right. So I'm thinking I got let's just think of a name of this one of the companies that comes to my place. Let's say Select. All right, Select. everybody's heard of Select, or most people have heard of Select. Select is a very good brand. I find it to be pretty decent. I like the flavors. It's very earthy, down to earth kind of shit. It doesn't taste like candy. It's got that down to earth flavor. Anyway, I don't know where I was going now. Fuck.
You were talking about everything that goes into these big grows makes you nervous about the
Right.
quality of the product.
Right. Now, but like you always say, know your grower. I don't know Select from a hole in the wall, except for I go to the place and I kind of like their stuff.
Right.
But I mean, officially, what everybody should be doing is either growing their own or knowing their grower, somebody who's not producing at a mass quantity, so that you know that they're putting that love and that care into it.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, if you have the ability to grow for yourself in your own state, I would take it upon myself to learn all of this, because then you know exactly what you're getting.
Well, you control it. You
right.
control
and
it,
if
right?
you fuck up, it's your own fuck up,
Right. But if you're willing to put in the time, the effort, and keep your records and continue to educate yourself, then you can grow the best product for you.
Right. Like I'm starting, like I'm saying it right here live on the radio. I'm growing a plant here in Pennsylvania. One, if you're gonna come get me, go ahead, get me. I'm growing one plant here, and I don't even know what it is. I don't even know if it's a sativa or an indica. We'll figure that out. You said, right?
Well, we won't know for a fact, but there'll be indicators in the plant structure that'll give us an idea. Yes.
Right. But what I was getting at is, I don't remember again. Damn it.
What you're getting at is that you don't know if the facilities are up to the standards that they should be.
Right. Well, I know that because I worked in food industry for most of my life. So I know stuff that's happened in the back and stuff, and I can only imagine the stuff that happens. I mean, it may be a little less crazy than would food, but I don't know. It just scares me.
Well,
and if you're a grower and you got good stuff, hit me up, because I'm looking for somebody.
I'll tell you right off the top, right? Canada has very, very tight regulations. So when you go into a Canadian licensed producer facility, you're walking into a pharmaceutical manufacturing facility. We are at that standard of hygiene and cleanliness and adherence to environmental factors and things like that, right? So you would never see a grower in a facility here in Canada in a tank top,
scratching his balls.
Shorts. You know what I mean? You won't see that. You won't see them working without gloves. A lot of times you won't see them working without masks. You know what I mean? Hairnets.
That's Canada, because it's legal there and they've gotten that stuff under control, right?
Yes.
I mean,
now in the States, I see, now I don't know if they're legit grows or not, but I do see pictures that people post on Facebook that are that look like big production facilities, like serious production facilities. So, with the amount of money that's invested in the appearance of the rooms that I see, I have to think that they are funded and legal grows. But I see them in there in tank tops, and I see them in there in shorts, and I see them in there I see the girls in there with their long hair loose, or guys with their long hair loose.
I've gotten a bud with a pubic hair in it. Well, it might not have been pubic hair, but it was a hair in it.
A lot of weed comes with hair. That's
and I'm like, yo, this is supposed to be medical purposes, and I'm pulling out some strong long hair out of this shit. What the hell, man?
Right. Yeah. So, the States, I can't really talk to the production facilities in the States because I've not been inside of one. And in the States is different because each state will set its own levels, right? It'll set its own leveling for licensing requirements,
guidelines or whatever.
Yeah, guidelines and stuff like that. But not Canada, because it's Health Canada. It's the federal agency that licenses, inspects, and holds you to account. when you have a cannabis production facility in this country.
Yeah, but it's the food and health regulation people that come in and hold you to account as well. And as they walk by and they just ignore shit that they're supposed to be writing down, and I'm
Well,
like,
they're susceptible
I
to.
cannot believe they just didn't fine me for having 2 gallons of sour milk in my refrigerator that I didn't notice was bad, and now I got to go throw away quickly before they come back. It's just like people ignore stuff and do whatever they want. It's if they're having a bad day that day, they're gonna piss you off. They're gonna fuck with you. But if they're in a great mood, they're not even gonna hang out. They don't. I've done it. I've seen it in bars and restaurants all my life. You get that guy a couple of years.
Canada, you wouldn't know
They
because
forget
the
about
people who show up to do the inspection are people you don't know. They're not your regular local city food inspector or local inspector. I mean, this is something you don't know these people. They come in.
When I worked for the military, we got a call from the front gate. They were like, yo, the person here is here. They would call us because they respected us. They liked us. They would give us a heads up. And then everybody would run at full speed, and they would pick a cafeteria. There was 4 different cafeterias on the base, and whichever one they went to first was fucked. But everybody else had a half hour to get their place cleaned up as best as they could, and throwing things away and just writing labels. It's just it's.
No, I mean, this is you're producing a product that's going to be ingested by human beings, no matter what, right? When you're talking to cannabis, at some stage, that cannabis is going to be consumed by a human, whether it's consumed in an edible form, an oil form, whether it's smoked, whether it's vaped, whether it's stuck in a suppository up your butt, doesn't matter. It's going to become part of a human's body.
I'm going to try
and
that.
That's where the standard has to be met.
It can't be illegal to send suppositories from Canada to the United States, is it?
If it's got THC in it, it is. Or it's got CBD in it, it is. If it has any cannabinoid in it, it is.
Damn it.
Really, you know what I mean? Because
my dispensary does not sell suppositories yet.
Right. I can't get to visit. They locked. Totally. Can I visit one?
Yeah. Like when you look on YouTube.
Can you visit a licensed production facility, pot smoker?
Yeah. But I'll look on YouTube and I'll try to look and I'll be like, I don't know if this is a licensed one or if this is a bullshit one or if this is somebody's home grow,
Lori, how are you?
Oh, good morning, Lori. Nice to see you.
That's okay.
Right. Oh, she had
Nice
company.
That you finally made it to join us. I was thinking about you earlier today. I was thinking about how cool it is that you're like my first in a way. My very first physical product I ever sold in my life that I created, you bought. So I'll always have
Raggy can say it all he wants, but you're his number one fan.
Maybe I'm Lori's number one fan. Maybe it's the other way around. But yeah, if you were looking to visit a professional production facility in Canada, that could be quite easily arranged for you. I do have connections in places that could do that for you. The only thing necessary is that you're able to show your credential about being involved in the industry in Australia or whatever the case may be. And that's one thing I can say is very, very cool here. We had access to other local producers' facilities that we could tour and go into, and they had access to ours. Now, of course, they were all scheduled meetings, right? It wasn't just, show up at the door and come take a look. But there was no secrecy in what we were doing between us and our technical competitors in the space. We were willing to open the doors and allow other people who were either in the process of setting up a licensed producer or running a licensed producer. We had the chance to see other people's work.
I need to know.
So it was pretty cool.
Inquiring minds need to know, do I have the credentials to get in? Like you said you have to prove your credentials as a radio show host.
Well, in Canada, that might be a bit of a problem simply because
I'm allowed to Canada.
Not that. But what I'm talking about is the way companies are allowed to publicize themselves here in Canada. Like they can't advertise, they can't promote, they can't do a lot of these things. The only thing they really can do is have a Frisbee or a mug or a T-shirt or a hat with their brand on it, their logo. That's about it. But they can't. Like I've even seen them take strain from setting up a booth at, let's say, a festival or a concert, setting up a booth there. That's just an informational place. You can't even buy cannabis or anything from them. And I've seen them fined. So, but some of the companies are so big, they're willing to take $100,000 fine because over the course of the 2 or 3 days that they got away with it, they've made such a big impact that they'll generate that money back in revenue from customers they've gained. So, it's the old story like we talked about before. If it's going to cost me $50,000 fine to dump my hazardous waste into the river, but it's going to cost me $100,000 to dispose of it properly, and I'm conscious about the money, well, I might as well just dump it in the river and pay the fine, right? Because it's still better for my bottom line. So,
right, but proper things would say no.
Yeah.
Anyway,
a professional pot smoker, you can reach out to me privately, and we can definitely open a line of communication because I'm really interested in what goes on in other countries too. And I'm a huge advocate, and I'm a believer in and I've got a lot of experience in the business. So, yeah, if you want to talk about the potential for looking into things here in Canada and working some sort of collaboration, then yes.
Me too. Yeah, I smoke a lot of weed, so yeah.
That's right.
Don't forget me.
That's right.
I like to test weed.
Hippie's like our average man, right, in the cannabis world. You represent the people. You know what I mean?
The Generation X.
The real people out there. That's what it is, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Cool.
I learn every day. It's amazing. I love it. I absolutely love it. I feel like I learn so much every single day.
Right. Well, I don't know.
Anyway,
I'm glad that you think like that or you feel that way. That's very cool.
Oh, I absolutely do. I had a conversation with people the other day and I held my own. I felt like I held my own. I was like, whoa, I actually sounded like I knew what I was talking about.
Well, you will. It's
like right? Sticking. I don't know why, but it's like sticking in here. I didn't think stuff could still stick, but it's
because it's not always new information. A lot of it, you know what it is comes up in.
I love the topic. I love the topic.
Yeah, and that's good.
I'm passionate about the topic, and I'm so happy to be able to say that, jerks, I was right. To my mommy and my daddy, and to a couple other people I'd like to name, but I won't.
I used to laugh, right? Because when I was locked up, I don't know, for some reason, guys in the unit kind of looked at me as maybe a little more knowledgeable about a lot of things in the world, right? Geography.
Because you're old.
Yeah, because I'm old, maybe. But I see two guys arguing about something, right? And a lot of times arguments weren't won by who was right or who was wrong, but by who was loudest. This is how
who had the shank
came to their conclusion. Well, maybe that too. But there were times that guys would come to me and say, Dave, tell us who's right. Who's right?
Come on.
I'm not telling you who's right.
Master.
Go educate yourself and learn. Go to the library and pick up a book and learn about it. I'm having more fun watching you guys argue. And as soon as I tell you the answer, I don't get to watch it anymore. So
the show's over. You guys are dumbasses.
That's it. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
No offense to you dumbasses. I don't want you coming looking for me. I didn't mean that.
There was a lot of really intelligent people, but there were some who really
dumbasses
weren't.
That's what we call them here in America, dumbasses.
Yeah. So,
anyway. So DoktorHigh, I got an issue. My issue. My plant still has not been transplanted, and it's looking sad. I mean, the top looks beautiful and energetic and ready to go, but the bottom is starting to get
and the problem, right, is the bottom are bigger leaves, so they require more.
Well, my question is, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to the question, but my question is, should I remove those 2 yellow ones?
No, transplant first and let the plant get some strength back.
Oh, the plant, I'm telling you, his rod is nice and hard.
Okay, that's good.
It is a very strong and healthy rod.
I think its roots are suffering.
No, I put holes.
Well, that's good. That'll help them breathe. But if it's root bound inside of there, that doesn't.
It may have been root bound because when I went like this and poked a hole, it was like.
The color looks a little bit better, Lori. In the center, it seems to have gone from that.
I think I was talking to you.
I mean, huh?
I said, I think I was in the middle of a conversation with you.
Sorry, I was just looking at Lori's pictures.
Cut me off, Lord.
I get distracted. No, you were talking about your plant.
No, it's all right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No solution for your plant. Transplant.
Yeah, I know.
That's all. It'll be fine afterwards.
I'm walking there after the show. I'm on my way to go get soil.
So your plant looks a little bit better, Lori. I'm seeing some of the color is going more to a dark green in that new growth. You still have a bit of discoloration. How many days has it been since you watered it? Have you let it dry out a little bit over the last couple of days like we talked about?
I know she trimmed her mushrooms.
Yeah, I'm looking at the pot right now. It looks super clean. Looks real good. The pot looks clean. I don't see any green algae growth on top. And that's usually like if the plant is too moist or it's not getting enough light or warmth, you'll start to get like a green algae buildup on the top. I'm not seeing any of that, so that looks good. And to tell you the truth, Lori, looking at this picture, I have to tell you, I trust God. So,
God,
I'm just looking at there's a sticker. There's a sticker behind the plant that says "Man made beer, God made weed." Who do you trust?
Oh, God.
Yeah. No, I trust God.
All right, yeah.
But the color looks a little bit better. There's still some clawing in that fresh growth. But some of the bigger leaves coming out look a bit better. So,
hey, speaking of my rod, it's got stripes up it. Is that normal?
Are they purple or red?
Yeah, blackish purple, maybe. Purple, reddish, maybe.
It's a deficiency.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It is.
God, what am I deficient?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly what it is, but it could be potassium, could be magnesium. I'm not sure.
Put some banana in there later.
Like that's one thing. Everybody out there who's growing something right now, you should go online and find yourself a chart that shows nutrient deficiencies and how they interact with the plant, how the plant looks when it's suffering from specific nutrient deficiencies, right? And on these charts, you'll have a leaf for each different deficiency. Some will have little brown spots. Some might have purpling in them. Some might have tips that are curled and clawed over. Some may, so they'll have different appearances. Some might be yellowing. And each of those things, these plants are sensitive, right? And they will give you feedback to what they need, but you need to be able to identify what they're saying in order to fix the problem. Like sometimes you just need to add some CalMag, right? So some magnesium to your plant. Sometimes you need to up your nitrogen. Sometimes you might need more potassium.
Bananas have potassium.
Bananas do have potassium.
I'll put it in the bottom of my new pot. I'm going to put a banana down there.
Yeah, I mean, you could bury that deep into the soil, and as it decomposes, it releases nutrients. It's like composting, right? Same idea. And that's why compost is so good for plants.
Can I put the peels down there, or are the peels no good?
Well, the peels would be what you would put.
No, I was going to put a full banana down there, like a banana split.
No, but I mean, it's unconventional and it's not necessary to do that. But yeah, you can do that too because it'll absorb some of it into the water overnight, But yeah, so if you download a deficiency chart, it makes it a lot easier for you to look at the chart and look at your plant side by side at the same time and say, okay, this leaf really resembles this picture right here. And that picture will have an explanation of what it is. Because some things that might look like a nutrient deficiency might actually be thrips. Little bugs that are really hard to catch with the eye. Like and we had to do this every couple of days in that grow. We had to inspect plants for signs of pests or infestation. And I used to have.
What did you call it? Thrips?
Thrips.
THRIPS, or
Yeah,
is that
yeah,
spelled
thrips.
in Canadian? Is that
So,
a Canadian?
no, your basic pests on a cannabis plant would be spider mites, thrips, aphids, and white fly. Those are probably the most common ones that you get. There's some others, but they're not as common, right? So spider mites aren't hard to see because you're going to see the webs, and then you'll be able to see the mites. They're small, but you'll be able to notice them because they'll start to cluster around where the eggs are. Thrips are like these tiny little.
Doesn't sound good.
Like a tiny little worm, but really small worm, and you would mistake it for just like a piece of dust on the leaf or something, right? Until you move it and you see it shoot away. But I used to have to use a big magnifying glass when I was looking at the plants to be able to see.
If you got thrips, is your plant dead, or you or save it?
No, you can treat them. You can treat them.
Oh, and what about your spider mites and all those other things?
Well, fortunately for me, I've never had spider mites. But ladybugs are a great way to combat spider mites. There are also other mites that will kill spider mites.
So I'm going to put ladybugs into my little closet over here.
We used, at the licensed producer I worked with, we used no insecticide or pesticides at all. We used all bugs. So when we had thrips, we introduced, and I don't remember the name of the bug now because it's some scientific
his name was
borealis kind of thing or whatever it is. But we used to buy the bugs. They would come live. They would be shipped right to the facility, live bugs. And we had little cardboard boxes that would come with them. And each cardboard box had some stuff inside for the bugs to eat and a place for them to be dormant. And we would just hang a box on each plant on the base. Right. And the problem that we encountered were thrips. This is what we were using them for. We didn't get the white fly or the aphid, but we had thrips on some of our grows. And thrips, one particular bug we used killed the adults, but they weren't interested in the babies or the eggs, only the adults. So we actually used two different kinds of bugs because another kind of bug wasn't interested in the adults, was only interested in the eggs and the babies. So these bugs.
Let me stop you right there, Dr. High, because this lady will have a conniption if we do not answer her questions immediately. Lori needs to know, can she put a tea bag on her? Something's eating her leaves. And can you put a tea bag in her soil or something?
I don't know much about.
I'll give you a tea bag.
I don't know much about a tea bag on the soil. Like that could be, like a home remedy type thing or something, perhaps, and I'm not familiar with. But if the bug is a flying bug, then it's a challenge. Sometimes you can take
the fly swatter.
You can take a spray bottle, like a good sized spray bottle. Here it would be a liter. I don't know what it would be in the States. Maybe a quart, maybe 2 pints, something like that. And in that, you might put 2 drops of dish soap. And when I say 2 drops, I mean like drop of dish soap, very, very little. And you mix it in with that water.
Which says she can put tea bags in her soil.
Okay. You can spray that right on your leaves.
But I've seen
for like a moth or something like that, that should help with that. If it's a bug that's crawling to the plant, I would simply get a pest strip and I would put it around the base of the plant like a little donut of the pest strip right there on top of the dirt. So when the pests crawl across the dirt to get to the plant to climb up, they get stuck in the strip.
Chamomile,
a specific one, yeah. Yeah, maybe you would know much more than I do about that sort of thing because I never really used like home kind of stuff or stuff that people would use in the, you know what I mean, in their own cultivation because I always had access to like other ways, I didn't look at it like that. So
all right,
you don't have any spider mites.
I'm gonna play a commercial. We'll be right back. What time you here till, man? We hanging today? I'm feeling good.
No, not too long. I'll be here for another 15 minutes or so.
All right. We'll be right back after these commercials. You're hanging with the hippie and Dr. High. By the way, we got to come up with a name. So everybody private message Dr. High a name of the show that we can come up with. Yeah,
the Dr. Hippie High.
The Dr. Hippie High? Hippie High Doctor. The Hippie High.
Dr. Hippie High.
Well, we came up with WTHC. We talk healthy cannabis. WTHC, right? We talk healthy cannabis.
Yep.
That makes sense. All right, we'll be right back.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute.
We teach cannabis health.
Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
It's not TCH, Curly Kel.
You take a minute.
THC.
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But
you ever excuse me for being brilliant.
Some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance. Care for
I
your
wrote
own
it in the
physical
chat
and mental well-being,
GPT, and it just keeps coming up with the same name.
Because the better
Highly
care you take of
medicated.
yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
With the
You're there for
hippie
them.
and Dr. High.
We're here for
First
you.
ones are good, though.
Find free care
With the
guides to
Dr.
support you
High
and your
and
loved
with
one
the
at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Yeah, I really don't like what I see at the top there.
All right,
Oh,
class.
no.
Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I
What are
raised
you
my
looking
older
at?
sister to a big oak tree. It was
Lori,
at least 100
I
years
might have
old.
missed one or
My
two
mom said I must have set a record or
when I was
something.
looking at 'em.
And then we went down by a
And I'm
stream
going
and
back
we
and
stepped
looking
on this
while on the commercial. And
huge rock.
She's out there
and
making
saw all these
salads
little
every
minnows
day
swimming
now.
around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother
I
from
can
a
see
snake
where
and
the
a
bugs,
king
where
who's
the
guarding
bugs are
the
getting it for
commercial.
sure, because I can
And my
see the
sister and I
holes
got
in the
it
leaf.
into our super twig for safety. And then we
Absolutely.
all laid out and told stories until it got
But it's
dark.
this fresh
And the
growth
big
that
difference
has me
got us all the
concerned.
way
I think it's
home.
dying.
Where were
Why
you,
is she
Jill?
threatening me again?
We went to the
I didn't even
forest.
say
It's
anything
not
bad
that far
about her. I
away.
don't even know what she's
Anyone want
talking
to come this weekend?
Oh,
Ask your parents
I'm
to
not
take you and
going
your
on this
friends to
trip
the
because
forest
I'm
this
going to get
week
beat.
and find the fun,
I don't even know
adventurous you.
why.
It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Are you in the Owensville or Middletown, New York area? Revamp your space with Collins Paints Ltd. Ugly walls? Let Collins Paints Ltd. add a splash of color to your world. Collins Painting is a veteran-owned and operated business. They can transform your space to whatever your heart desires. Say goodbye to the boring beige and hello to possibilities of bright and vibrant colors. The Collins Painting team are a group of skilled professional painters who will turn your vision into reality. Call Collins Paint Ltd. today to get a fast and easy quote. Available Monday through Fridays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call them.
I think the big guy's a little more nervous than I am.
8176. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Are you looking to have some crocheted made by hand stuff like your Grammy used to do for you? Then you need to check out You Have Me Hooked 23 on Etsy and TikTok. Vern can do what you need. She crochets hats, she crochets animals, everything, anything you may need. She also makes vinyl stickers, banners for your business. Anything that you might want that she can do, she can definitely do it for you. Want an eye sticker? She's got you covered. Anything.
I remember you took good care of me when we met the last
Check her
time.
out. You have me hooked 23 on Etsy and TikTok.
WTHC, we are back hanging with the hippie and Dr. High. Like I was saying before, we got to come up with a name because once Dr. High gets to Montreal and he gets himself settled, this is on. This game is on. This is gonna be nothing but full-fledged good times and hard work. Right, Dr. High?
Yeah, but then what we're going to have to think about is a name that we can also speak in French.
Right, parlez-vous français? I got a lot of French I've learned over the time. French fries, French dressing.
There you go.
Bread.
I'm just looking at some cannabis deficiency charts trying to find an image similar to what.
Lori's plant is missing love. It's missing love.
Well, there's something definitely not right.
She's very mean to me all the time, and it doesn't like to hear her talk to me like that.
But I'm
And
trying to
she
find
does
an
not have WTHC playing in the background often enough.
image. Well, I'm just trying to find an image that matches, right? What I'm seeing there.
Cannabis.
Because I'm just worried about that plant a little bit. The more I look at it, I'm concerned.
If you're going to ask my professional opinion, it looks a little scraggly.
Well, I mean, it is not as bushy as I would like to see.
Yeah,
but
she needs some more crotch action.
What concerns me is new growth is thick, twisted, and abnormal. That's what I'm saying.
Kind of sounds just like Lori. Thick, twisted, and abnormal.
Yeah. Boron. Yeah.
Moron.
I'm gonna have to really take some more time to
Don't call me a moron.
I need to take a little bit of time to I can't join the chat.
Which chat? That
Our
one?
chat today.
You certainly can, just right over there.
No, I'm locked out today because when I went into StreamYard for some reason, it didn't connect to my account. Like I'm not streaming today or anything.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Yeah, your friends aren't even here. No wonder.
Yeah, I'm not streaming today or anything. Can you just type something into the chat for me, Hippie?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, I can. What do you want?
CJ's
I mean, everybody can write it. If you're going to read it out, just everybody.
Oh, you're on Facebook, CJ? All right. So if you just go to my profile, go to David Johnson.
Oh.
And I posted this morning the link to the journals. The link will take you to the 2-pack, right? The cultivation manual and to the medical. But if you use that link to get to the Etsy store, then you can just go and look for the
I did it.
Exactly, David Johnson. So you can go right there and find the link to the Etsy store and just click on the link.
Or you could join WTHC Radio and WTHC Radio Army, where the hippie shares it 7,000 times a day.
Yeah, this is true. You won't find this one though.
Say what?
No, because when I share it from my Etsy store,
you're hiding stuff from me now, DoktorHigh.
No, I can only share it to my profile, the actual link with the product image and everything. I can only share it to my connected profile, that one.
Gotcha.
When I do it directly from my Etsy store. So those ones, the ones with the link like that, they're only ever in my profile because I can't put them anywhere else.
Gotcha. So what I need to do is upgrade down here so that people can find your Etsy store. When I put up a different banner down here, it'll say DoktorHigh's Etsy store.
Yep. Well, you know, most of the stuff in the Etsy store
we'll work on that.
Is just neat stuff to have, but the two journals are really, super beneficial if you're cultivating and using cannabis as medicine. The rest is just fluff, but those two are pretty pretty useful.
Those books are amazing.
No, I'm not talking about the books. I'm talking about like t-shirts and
fluff.
No, I wasn't talking about those.
I was like,
I was just talking about, like a digital downloaded piece of art or whatever,
Yeah. We got to come up with a digital downloaded piece of art for the both of us for our show, like you and me together.
In life, some things are wants and some things are needs.
You don't want a picture with me, you bitch?
No. What I'm saying is most of the stuff in my Etsy store is a want. You know what I mean? If you're buying anything, you want it.
I want a picture with you.
This is the only way we can do it, unless you come to Niagara Falls.
I'm coming to Niagara Falls. I told you.
So, because I can meet you there.
December.
But the journals are kind of like not in the want category. If you're a grower, then it's important to track your garden, what you're doing.
So What I was gonna say is something about, damn it, it was about the radio show or on Facebook or YouTube, something about that shit.
What, coming up with a name or?
Well, yeah, we got to do that, but no, there was something else. I can't remember.
I don't know. What do you people think out there? Just start throwing some names out. When something pops into your head, write it down. And then when we're on the show,
Lori's got the slogan. I like the slogan. We teach healthy cannabis. We teach healthy cannabis. WTHC. That's our.
That does work.
Yes, but that's not the name of the show. It's got to
No,
be something.
that could be a slogan for the show. Absolutely.
Right. Oh, yeah. That's going to be the slogan for the radio show, for the radio overall.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be we entertain and educate daily because I owned weed, and I still own weed, but now it's WTHC all the time. So we had to come up with a new model.
Dab weed.
Let's dab weed. Who said that?
But it's the witches that wear the pointy hats. No?
Dunce cap weed. That's not nice. Glitch. See, that's why you get that other name in there too, or the ending one, which I don't ever usually try to use, but I'm trying to hold. I'm restraining myself right now. She comes in and she insults me every morning. She comes in and today she called me a twat, something or other. I don't remember.
Oh, that's a very British word for a very private part of your body.
Twat waffle. I think she called me.
Twat waffle.
Good morning, twat waffle. And I was like, oh, good morning.
That's funny.
I love you, Glitch. It's good to see you again.
Funny.
She gets a kick out of it, so it's all right. Imagine coming in a puppet every morning and telling him
the battery thing was not working. Is it a throwaway vape pen, Kelly, or is it one that's got a recharging port that you can charge yourself?
I think hers was a rechargeable. If I remember,
yes, the battery wasn't working.
Yeah, but I don't like the ones that you have to charge on the bottom of the battery anyway, where you plug it in on the bottom.
Why? Where they put you want the one that plugs in on the side?
No, I want the one that you screw on and you put it on top of the charger.
Yeah, they're kind of easier. That's one of the things I don't like about the ones that I get is that they're pre-filled, right? So I can't take the cartridge off to keep it up and down straight, and the charging port is right on the bottom of the device. So what I do is I use a cup. I put a cup there and I slide it down inside the cup so that the wire is pushing the piece to the side and it stays upright, but that's the only way.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I get what you mean.
You kids, I got like a Android and I just plug it in and it charges and then like I take it off and it's, oh no, we're talking phones.
Yeah.
My pen, my pen has the little white thing, and then you screw it on to the pen right onto the top of it. It flashes red.
Yeah, it's got the 510 thread on it.
Color, and then it goes green.
Battery.
And then when it turns solid green, you're fully charged. Take it off. I have a second one, so I always have one on the charger, ready to go, just in case, unless it gets fully charged. Then I take it down.
Yeah, that's exactly what you need for the kind of carts that you're buying.
Did you just?
And sometimes you need to take a Q-tip and some isopropyl alcohol
and rub around the inside.
Yeah, and swab down into where the little connection is in that. Because if you look at the bottom of a vape cart, inside the threads, there's a hole. Mm-hmm. And oil can get down through that hole and can end up in the base and just screw with your
working in the vape industry. When I worked in the vape industry, I didn't work in, but I worked in a vape store. That was one of the biggest things. Was it's always a connection issue. 99% of the time with your vape pen, it's not the battery, it's not the recharging. I mean, unless you broke that in there, that little centerpiece where you're charging. I mean, 99% of the time, it's like something is not connecting between the cartridge and the pen. So you need to that little thing down in the bottom. Sometimes it gets pushed down too far, and you just need to pluck it up a tiny little hair, and then it'll connect again. So always check your pens before you go out and spend another $10 or $20 or more. And of course, I'm sure they have better and beautiful ones nowadays. I mean, this was when I was there. They only had these little pen ones, and I still only buy them from the vape shop because they're like $10.
Yeah, they're $6-7, $8.
$10 here, $10 or $5 now. I think they're even $5.
Yeah. That's the one nice thing about Canada, right? Since they opened dispensaries, accessory prices went down. Because the dispensaries use the accessory prices as a lure, right?
Yeah,
so
well, that's because
they'll
your dispensaries can sell accessories. That's fucking crazy. My dispensary don't. I mean, they have a couple like I guess they do now. I guess you're right, but they don't go out like and fill up a back wall with bongs and shit. They have a
these
few.
ones don't
They have
either.
a few Puffcos and a few little pen thingies down there that if somebody needs something, I guess.
Yeah, like they'll have a little selection of vaporizers. They'll have some rolling papers.
Yeah, but their prices are crazy compared.
Oh,
to
see now here they're dirt cheap. Like the last concentrate vape I bought was a Yocan. I paid $15 for it. Yeah. Like when I was selling that device from the store I worked in, that was probably like $80.
Yeah, they were for like $40-$50 for at the vape shop where I was at, but they wanted like $80 for it at the dispensary.
Yep.
I was
and
like, no, I'll just go to the vape shop and get one for $40 instead of $80 a year. No, I'll pass. But their pens were always cheap, their little batteries for the carts, and they were convenient. You go there. Damn it, I left my damn card at home. Now I got to drive an hour at home. No, you know what? I'll just pay $10 and get a new one, and I got a fully charged one ready to go on my way home. Not that I was smoking and driving, officer. Not unless you're down.
No, that's it. The other problem with those little 510 batteries too, those people put them on the charger and forget them.
Right, and you can't let them overcharge because they'll kill it.
2 hours. 2 hours max.
As soon as my thing turns solid green, I take it off. I always have it's like here, so I can always see it, So when it's charging, it'll be flashing red, then it'll flash to the next color, that amber or whatever you want to call it, and then it'll go green, and then it'll turn solid green. As soon as it turns solid green, I take it off.
I got one of those high-speed charger blocks, right, that are good for the new phones. And when I use that to charge my my vapes, I set my timer for 55 minutes, and that's it. 55 minutes, and the timer's running on the phone. When the alarm goes off, I unplug it. Because overcharging your batteries, like if you leave them on more than 2 hours, you can ruin them. That's another way to.
Definitely a thing that people used to come in all the time to the vape shop, and they'd be like, "Why is this not working?" And the guy would be like, "Oh, dude, you let it on the charger too long. It's exploded. It's no good no more." Yeah, but but the pens, luckily, they're cheap, but when you go in and you're paying $40 for that Yocan, or you're paying even more for one of those bigger and more expensive ones, that's when you're like, fuck, you got to make sure you take care of that shit.
Well, the more you spend, the more likely you are, right? To take care of it.
Not necessarily.
No, you don't think so?
Some people. I'm not very good at that.
No.
Oh, I'm bad. You don't need. I'm crazy. Dr. Harris knows. He can vouch.
That's why he's got you heavily medicated.
You're sitting there talking to a puppet. I mean, come on.
Where am I at, eh?
Yeah, you're not far behind. I'm playing with him. You're talking to him.
Where's the Cowardly Lion and the Tin Man?
Courage. I don't know. Courage.
Nice.
Anyway, what else?
Nothing. It's been a good day.
Have you had any hit-ups for guests? Nobody. Get Master Rochi on here. Get Crystal on here. Come on.
Well, the problem with Master Rochi is he works when we're doing the show.
I don't give a shit. We can record it.
And I spoke with Kim Axtell, and Kim would do the show, but the problem is she's a high school teacher, so
you can do it live in her classroom. I'll watch my mouse.
Yeah, I'm surprised that she's as active in this community as she is.
Well, we can definitely get professional pot smoker. Seems like he would be interested. And Cookies was here earlier. Cookies hit me up. And Garrett, I still don't understand why you haven't hit me up. And or Christopher.
Chris, for sure.
Facebook.
Got a really interesting story.
Absolutely.
I don't know much about Garrett's story. If there's anything like Chris.
It's TYEDYE _T TEE. Tie-dye T. That's the big guy. He's tie-dye T. Oh, he was. Now he's become the hippie, and I'm Hippie J. He's Da.Hippie, and I'm Da.Hippie J. But anyway, yes, pick me up, and I will definitely. We can pull people up anytime. If you guys you want to talk about something, I'm happy to bring you up. I just have to have you on either that or give me your email, and then I can send it to you through email. I think.
So I'll give you one quick story to finish the day.
All right.
Is weed or alcohol more addictive? I came across this article this morning, so I had to give it a read. There is a common perception that cannabis is safer and less addictive than alcohol. For example, in a recent survey of more than 1,000 Americans, the respondents ranked alcohol as somewhat and moderately addictive, compared to not very or somewhat addictive for marijuana. Additionally, survey participants who didn't consume cannabis generally believed alcohol was moderately dangerous, while cannabis was ranked as not very dangerous to somewhat dangerous. But aside from that, from general opinions, is there evidence that one substance is more addictive or harmful than the other? What are the similarities between weed and alcohol? Because we've talked about this. We always say there's no similarities, but this is going to say something different, maybe.
Of course.
Alcohol and cannabis share a bunch of features in common. Both can be used to help people mellow out, calm nerves, and relax muscles. These effects occur because both alcohol and weed belong to the depressant class of drugs, although weed falls into several other drug categories too. Depressants increase the activity of the GABA neurotransmitters in the brain. When GABA activity ramps up, activity in the central nervous system slows down, and the speed at which messages are passed between the body and the brain also decreases. Imagine GABA as a brake pedal for the brain. When that brake is pressed, calming effects ensue. However, there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. Too much depressants equal too much GABA activity, which in turn can result in drowsiness, slow reactions, poor coordination, and impaired concentration. Anyone who's had a little too much alcohol or a little too much weed can likely attest to a bit of slurred speech, passing out early, or maybe stumbling over and the like. Goes on to say,
stumbling over into the lake?
Or just stumbling over and the like. And others
in the lake. I was like, I've never stumbled over in the lake.
So this is why I picked up this article, because
I want to ask you a question before you go any further. What about this? How much times in the hospital when you're sick do they give? Oh, well, I guess they don't do it for weed either. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna
alcohol is not ever used in a medical purpose. I don't think. I mean, besides cleaning your wound, maybe.
No, but here's what they're going to say. This is the next paragraph. We're going to get kind of an answer to that. How are weed and alcohol different? Cannabis differs from alcohol in several critical ways. Dr. Jordan Tischler, president of the Association of Cannabinoid Specialists and the CEO of Inhale Med. Now, he's a Harvard-trained doctor, this guy. Alcohol is a very simple single molecule that is a product of yeast fermentation, says Tischler. Essentially, it's yeast poop. Poop is generally a poison, and humans have figured out that in small doses, they like the effect this poison has on their brain. It really isn't that good for you and has no medicinal use at present. Cannabis, on the other hand, is a plant that contains hundreds of diverse compounds, many of which are therapeutically beneficial. We've just scratched the surface of knowing what they are and what these compounds do. However, it is well proven that THC and cannabis in general have use in the treatment of pain, anxiety, insomnia, nausea, vomiting, and other illnesses. In simple terms, cannabis has medicinal applications and alcohol does not. Wow. So it goes on to talk about the addictive potentials. So where alcohol is physically addictive, cannabis is not physically addictive. It's more psychologically addictive. Yeah. So it's not technically an addiction as much as it is a dependence.
Yeah. I was going to say, I feel like I definitely have a psychological addiction to it. Like when I know I'm out, I get frustrated and scared and nervous and sad.
But your situation is different, right? Because
I'm not a millionaire. I can't afford to just go down
because you're not using weed for fun. you're smoking cannabis because it's a medication that helps you get through your day-to-day life.
Oh, I wish some people in my life understood that.
Well, it's different. You know what I mean? Like we can't put recreational users and medical users in the same basket because they're not the same.
Well,
You know what I
what
mean?
the issue there is that I've considered myself a recreational user for so long. It's hard for me to get past that fact that
What, so you just faked it for the prescription? Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all. I
So,
didn't
you know?
recognize that I was using it for medical purposes until I got to the hospital, until my accident. Then I knew that it was an availability to me as medical. They were just starting to pass it out as, not here in my state yet, but right after that, they really became legal here medically. And I was like, yes, I'm not going to take opiates. I'm going to treat my pain with marijuana. And then, of course, my whole life, I was treating my mental with marijuana that I didn't even recognize. I was just, but I was also a drug addict and a drunk. I did all that teenage stuff that you weren't supposed to do.
Yes, but that's the joy of aging, right? As wisdom comes with it.
Right.
For the most
Now
part.
I realize how much it benefits me. But I think I go a little overboard, but I don't know. I sometimes I'm like, I don't know, DoktorHigh, you're the doctor here. Every hour or so I smoke a bowl or I do some dab hits. Is that too much?
Who's to say? I can't judge that.
Well, that's what I try to explain to some people. I'm like, you don't know how much pain I'm in. You don't know how long the weed lasts. You don't know, and I'm like, I feel like, if I do 2 or 3 dab hits at, every 420 across the country, a world, it keeps me maintained. I'm okay. If I like this right now, this 2 hours, I'm in pain right now. Like because I haven't taken that one an hour ago when I should have.
Well, I'm glad you suffer a little to spend your time with me. That's really
absolutely. I would do it. I would do another hour. I would do another hour because this is important to me, and it's important that these people learn. Everybody gets the opportunity to get the knowledge that you have, and then I can make jokes about it. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's absolutely a joy to do this every day, and I'm learning. I've learned to cut back. I've definitely cut back dramatically on my intake because it used to be a full bowl of flour, packed to the gills with it overflowing, crushing it down, trying to get it all in there because I would just take a full bud. I wouldn't even break that shit up. I would just cram it in there and then start smoking it.
Yeah. And you really only get so high, right? So
right. And now I'm like, I'm breaking off a quarter of a tiny piece of bud and I'm breaking that up into little pieces and I'm putting it in there. I'm taking 2 hits off of it.
Hell, don't even break up the bud. Leave it as intact as possible when you put it in the bowl and hit it like that.
It tastes better. It tastes better. Yep. I'm not going through as much. I'm saving.
And you're getting more airflow, which makes a difference in your high too.
Right. And then it's not sitting there burning away while it's just fucking sitting there burning away while I'm coughing my brains out over here.
Yep. I'll tell you, for people who smoke joints, I'm going to show you something that might seem strange, but you can smoke your joints like this, right?
Yes, Garrett. I've been
and you get high
all my life.
But if you take your joint and you put it between your 2 fingers this way, and you close your hands together, and then you pull like this, you're going to get way higher from that same joint. And it has to do, I believe, in the oxygen to smoke. So your joint is this way. It's up between those 2 fingers, right?
Right. I see it, and I see me burning myself.
No, because the joint's all the way up here, and you got a filter that keeps it out of your.
You're a sissy with those filters. I don't use filters.
I don't roll. You don't put a piece of cardboard in there?
Never in my life. That is weird.
Yeah,
first of all, it makes my joint look 2 inches longer than it really is, and that makes me sad. Then I don't need no damn cardboard down there.
It seems to me like a lot of the things you do around cannabis are designed to not make you feel sad.
That's why I smoke cannabis.
Doing it.
That's why I smoke it, because I don't want to be sad. And if it's too long and it's not real, then I'm gonna be sad. That's sad. No, I hate, like, my friend comes over and they always got a filter, and I'm not gonna turn it down if there's a filter. But then you got the lipstick on that damn filter. And you're like, what the hell, John? Why are you wearing lipstick? And then you go on and you're like, no, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? I just don't like filters. I never liked them. And now they're like everywhere. I mean, maybe if I had a glass one, but I don't even know how to roll. I don't use cones.
Yeah, see, for me, the filter accomplishes just one task. It keeps the joint free smoking until the end, where it doesn't get all gummed up with the resin.
I don't mind a nice roach, and I don't mind rolling up a nice roach joint later in the week when I'm running low.
Right.
You know what I mean? With filters, you ain't got no roach joint. There's nothing left but paper.
But when I'm done,
that makes me sad.
It's garbage.
And it makes me sad. Because I've always been used to roaches.
You're funny.
Burning my fingers with my roach. I burnt these fingers for years. I got calluses that are on top of calluses from roach burn.
I can't believe that when I was growing up, I was able to get around.
Brain fart? What the hell?
No, I just saw a notification in the private chat and took a look at what it was. And
oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, just processing that. That's all.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So roaches. You were about to talk about calluses on my fingers. That's what we were.
Yeah, I got distracted.
Yeah. So anyway, I used to. I could work in the kitchen. That's how I worked in the kitchen. I was able to pick shit up hot because my damn fingertips were all burnt from my roaches all my life.
But chefs and that can do that anyway. They'll touch things
you
that
get
nobody
used
else
to it.
would. You do get used to it, right?
For a while, yeah.
And they'll eat food. They'll taste food way hotter than anybody.
Oh yeah. I've lost tons of layers of skin on my tongue and my mouth and the top of my mouth. Oh yeah.
Nothing worse, man, than biting into a piece of pizza that's too hot or something like that.
I love my pizza. The hotter, the better. That's the way I like my pizza. If it bite and it burns and I'm pulling off layers of skin later, that's the best. That's quality pizza right there.
You'd be out of luck without your roller. What do you use, a raw roller or one of those small ones there where you drop your weed in and your paper and just kind of give it a spin?
I don't mind a good roach. I don't know what you're laughing about over there, Christopher. But you're probably too young, but roaches are cool. Back in the day, we used to roll our roaches up. In fact, our friend over there, Boomer. Shout out to my buddy Boomer. His name is Bomber, but Raggy calls him Boomer because Raggy.
It's just the way it sounds when he pronounces it.
Boomer. So we all call him Boomer now. And he's like, no, it's Bomber. But anyway, he was rolling up roaches this morning. I was kind of envious. Oh, and Samantha was rolling up roaches this morning in our Discord. And I was kind of jealous. I love roaches. Yeah, roach joints. I feel like you're getting a combination of a couple different weeds, hopefully throughout the time. And then you're getting all that resin and that residue. It's all quality stuff right there. Quality. No.
I'm going to take
you didn't fucking hate them back when we were kids, sir. You loved them then.
I do recall a couple of times in my life, most likely, that I did do that. But thank God, it's been a very long time.
It wasn't your favorite day. When you were going down to roaches, you were sad. It wasn't the best day of the week, but you were happy that at least you had roaches. Now I got little rolls of paper all over my table here that have got nothing connected to it but the remnants of weed.
No, I just smoke them until they're finished and throw them away. No roaches for me. I just don't keep them. Like I smoke until it's done, and that's it. I'm done.
I got 2 or 3 right up here in my tray there, right, waiting for me for a roach joint later in the week.
There you go.
See?
Well, if you enjoy it, more power to you.
Well, it's the whole filter thing. But I understand the filter thing now. Catching the weed, catching that bad stuff, whatever.
Yeah, that's right, Chris.
Right. Eat them. The roaches. I used to eat roaches too. Yeah. at the end when we were out in the neighborhood and we were hanging and everybody was like, here's the roach. And I'd be like, what the fuck you want me to do with it? And they'd be like, I don't know, throw it away, whatever.
Well,
I'd be like, whoop.
It would make sense, right? Because it's already been decarboxylated.
I don't know if it did anything. Kind of got some ash in my mouth. I showed off. I drank a beer afterwards. Everybody was like, you're a dumbass. And I said, yeah. Anyway, DoktorHigh, we are way over schedule, bro.
Yes. Yeah, you're past your 420, and I'm past my bedtime.
420. I passed, you weren't even up today. You going back to bed, you bum?
Actually, today I slept in. I don't think I woke up until 5:30.
I was watching. You didn't even listen to the radio today until the end.
Yeah, I didn't. I was out. I got up. My wife had me out shopping early and running around and out to the weed store and grocery store and all that kind of fun stuff. So
yeah,
I didn't actually do any work today.
Garrett, cooking. Oh, get out of it as soon as you can. It sucks. I hate it. I did it all my life. Mostly institutions, though, like hospitals and
I thought you were going to say the institutions where they had you locked up and it was just part of your
one time when I was locked up, I had to cook there for a while, but that was a different institution.
4:20, it's 4:20 a.m. in Australia.
Woo woo! It's 4:27 a.m. in Australia.
Oh.
So
we can do that for you, Kelly.
Institutions, like hospitals, colleges, and then I did a 8 or so year duty to my country, and I worked for the military, and I cooked there for the Army for 8 years, and then I retired. I make it sound like it was a lot better than it really was. I was just some guy that cooked at the Army base, but I cooked for my country. I actually served breakfast to George W. Bush. Well, I didn't get to serve it to him, but I made him his breakfast. And he was there visiting the colonel, I guess, at that point when I first started working there. That was pretty exciting.
Yeah. Too much.
And then, we had a good time there. It was a good job, but I had to go. They brought in some kids that were college kids that just graduated culinary school, and they made them the supervisor. And they were trying to tell the 40-some-odd-year-old man that's been cooking longer than they've been alive how to do my job. And I was like, no, I don't need to do this. My wife makes plenty of money. I can go sit home and do nothing.
There you go.
And I retired. I said,
there you go. Nice. All right, everybody.
Cooking sucks, yeah. It's hard, and now I don't ever want to cook. Mrs. Hippie hates it. She's like, why don't you cook tonight? And I'm like, because I can't.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to cook professionally, but I certainly love.
Yeah, if I would have stayed doing it regular, just loving it, I would have loved it, and I probably would have went on to go on Top Chef and things like that.
But I'll tell you what, if I could open a cannabis cafe,
a hot dog truck,
I'd be cooking.
I would love to open a breakfast. I love breakfast. I love cooking breakfast.
I don't know why nobody's done it on one of these First Nations places yet. A fully infused restaurant. But you know what? Maybe it's a good idea they haven't, because
we're going to do it now. The High, DoktorHippie and DoktorHigh cannabis truck.
I would call it, I already had a name for it for a long time, man. And I would call it the Highway Cafe.
Highway Cafe.
The Highway Cafe.
Do it the highway or don't do it at all.
Yep. With a little pot leaf to dot the I.
Yeah, I like it.
That's it. Everything infused.
Yeah, food.
Yep. That'd be fun.
I want to do an infused breakfast shop.
Breakfast, lunch.
Stop by my deli.
I only want a restaurant that ran breakfast, lunch anyway, because I'm a morning person.
I hate dinner. Yeah, dinner fucking service.
Yeah, I'm a morning person.
Lunch sucks, but breakfast I don't mind. Hey,
let's get the hell
out of here.
Yes. Everybody, thanks so much for the time today. We appreciate it. A lot of great interaction, a lot of fun, very interesting conversation we got on here today. Hippie and I talked for 2 or 3 minutes before we got started. We're like, what the fuck are we going to talk about today? And we were like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, 2.5 hours gone, and we
haven't
managed
shut up.
to pull it out again. So
I'm ready to go another hour.
Interaction. We
Absolutely.
really appreciate it. Garrett,
You guys
hold
are amazing.
on to those Chat GPT questions because we're going to make it like a game. And we'll be like Stump the Doctor with Chat GPT. And let's see.
Stump the Doctor, yeah. Who can come up with a question on Chat GPT? That's gonna.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of questions that'll stump me. But let's keep it to the cannabis realm. And then maybe I got a chance.
Cannabis related, of course, yeah.
You know what I mean?
We love you guys. Please share it out, like it, smash that whatever button that they always tell you to smash that I can't ever fucking find. Do that kind of stuff. Let's get to the 100 followers so that we can, I don't know, work on getting number 101, I guess. Everybody have a wonderful, great, blessed day. Peace, love, hippie hugs, and a shitload of nugs to you all. Doctor, tell them what you got.
Thanks, everybody. Been a great day, and we will see you tomorrow, Thursday, at noon.
Yes.
Don't forget to get your journals.
Yes. Pick up your journals. Don't forget to check out DoktorHigh's. Oh,
Sounds
check out
good.
our merch. I got a merch store now. You can go to our website, www.wthcradio.com. Go check out our merch. You can always hit the button over there, and that's where you can learn to listen to us. You can hit the button. It says listen in, and then you don't even have to do any of the other work. We did it for you. Or
And
you
I'll
can
tell
go
you what,
down
from a guy who's selling T-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff on Etsy, the Hippie's prices are really, really good.
That's because I'm crazy.
I wish I could do things at those numbers.
Insane. No, they might have gone up since the last time you saw them. Because
but I mean, $28 for a sweatshirt, unbelievable deal.
Yeah, but then I got embroidered ones up there for $75. So
yeah, but embroidered is a whole different ballgame.
Well, go check them out, guys. Go check out DoktorHigh's website. He's got his cannabis and his mushrooms and all that kind of stuff. Don't forget to check that stuff out as well. Check out his Etsy store for all of his beautiful art and AI stuff that you do.
My arm's gone.
Your arm is, yeah. You lost it.
Jeez. That's kind of a scary thing to look at.
Yeah, you should see it when your head
And
disappears.
you know what's worse? I can still feel it.
Yeah. That's what they say. When you lose it, you can still feel it. Why are we still here? Goodbye.
See you, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Peace.